over the last 24 hours or so since we last talked. We have a new champion in baseball. The Grizzlies have lost another game to start the season 0-5. We had some MAC winners, some MACtion last night. But, Brett, how are you this afternoon?
I'm doing well, and you're right about the Grizzlies. You're right about everything there, but you're sure right about the Grizzlies. And I asked you almost flippantly before we started, have the Grizzlies led this year? Yes, they have, early in the New Orleans game, early in even the Denver game, and early in the Washington game. But they haven't led much in the second half this year.
No.
And for friends of mine last night, when are you going to start getting worried? Well, I'm close to it.
Yeah.
I'm sure close to it because the last two games, I think the effort has been very lacking. And that is easy to say and very hard to prove, but it's going in the wrong direction. You could write opening night against New Orleans off as, pretty good team.
Sure.
Western Conference tier group team, and they played well, and the Grizzlies at times did not. Okay, well, Denver's the world champs. Mm-hmm. Washington, first roadie of the year. Dallas without Kyrie Irving, all right, they got Luka. But then last night, that was rock bottom for the year, and it's Philippines Jaren. That defense that he could not stop anything in the World Cup, Steve Kerr having him horribly out of position, and now he's being asked to do something he's not very good at doing, and people are exploiting it quite easily. And last night's effort I thought was lacking.
Yeah, no, I agree. It was a bad game from the jump. I mean, there was really no bright spots in that game last night. I saw DeMichael Cole had several stories up last night and this morning after that game, and his gamer last night, the starting sentence, I think, kind of lays it out perfectly. This is how DeMichael started his story last night from the Commercial Appeal. Quote, "Everything that could go wrong did." I mean, that's pretty much what happened last night in Utah. There was not many bright spots in that game last night, and as a result of that, you saw a lot of guys that I don't think coming into the season you thought would play very many minutes, playing minutes not only late in the fourth quarter when they seemingly decided to bench everybody because they were down by so much, but early in the game you saw Jacob Gilyard in there, you saw Vince Williams in there, you saw Junior Lofton in there. I mean, there's they were getting run in the second quarter and the third quarter, and obviously with Gilyard, the point guard who will probably spend most this year in the G League with Derrick Rose's injury, sounds like he'll be out for maybe a couple weeks with a knee injury. But so again, injuries there. But you're right, the effort was not very good last night, and there weren't a lot of bright spots to even talk about for the Grizzlies in that game last night.
The lineup combinations at times last night, well, it looked like an 0-5 team. Yeah. It looked like a team that would be lucky to win 18 to 20 games. They're going to win more than that. But also this, and you're seeing this thread out there, and I asked this Monday in a rhetorical fashion, when is the heat, when is the criticism, when's the scrutiny that Ryan Silverfield seems to get? When do you get that? Will you see that at all for a Penny Hardaway team if it got off to a struggling start in that 13 non-conference games that he says, his words, it's the season?
Yeah.
I said, and we'll do picks next Wednesday, I'm going to pick 9-4. In my 4 losses, it might not be exactly to this team, but it could be to another one. VCU, Ole Miss kind of up for grabs. But what if that 13 was 7-6 or 6-7? Would it be a lot of criticism? Last night you could see that thread, that tenor, that tone out there of when's the Grizzlies going to get some of this? Well, that's fair to ask, but I think it's fair to say I'm not going to give either one over the top because there's a lot of games left to play.
Sure.
If after, like the Memphis Tigers football team, you've played 2/3 of your season, then I might be a little more prone to heavier criticism.
Sure.
But after 2/3 of their season's been played, 8 out of 12 games, and your winning percentage is .750,
then
I'm going to be a little less prone to be heavily critical. I don't think it's exactly the same thing.
No.
Here's one thing that can be asked, and I'm going to ask it, and how much criticism should be placed on him. And I would like the response at 901-360-8255. At some point in this 25 games without him, not just, oh, shucks, man, Ja, hope he gets everything, figured out and sorted out. We all think that. Nobody's going, nobody's hoping that he gets in more trouble.
Right.
But my question is, how much blame gets placed on him? The face of the franchise, the first superstar player that we've ever had in this market for this team. A lot of this 0-5, it falls to him.
Sure, absolutely, and
his judgment and in his absence.
Yeah, no, you're right, and I want to say maybe on Twitter I saw somebody kind of the exact same thing you're saying of not really of when are people going to start pointing at Ja, but what does Ja feel about this, knowing that if he hadn't have made some of the decisions he had made, maybe the Grizzlies wouldn't be 0-5 right now, and things would be much better, and basically saying
forever to get that superstar player.
Yeah.
He cost a playoff run last year, and now he's cost this start.
Yeah. So I mean that's a good question, and so I feel like last night on social media, on Twitter, was really the first time I kind of started seeing some of the fan base on Twitter, and obviously a very different, you hear different things on social media than what you hear at other places, but that's really where I started seeing people kind of making that turn of, oh, this is not good. And I think, like you said to start off, you could kind of, those first 3 games, you could kind of make those excuses, or I guess 3 out of those first 4 games. You've got the defending champs in the house. You've got New Orleans, a really good team. You've got Luka and the Mavs. Okay, quick turnaround to go to Washington. But that game last night, it seemed like the way they lost 5 in a row, it seems like that's starting to build in some of the fan base, and it seems like some people are getting a little restless with this start.
I don't think any of the criticism really should fall on Taylor Jenkins right now because he is so limited in personnel. Yeah. But we've got the Bismack Biyombo signing and him on the way.
Oh yeah, Biz.
Yeah, hope that works, and it can't hurt.
No, I mean try anything at this point. And,
but I don't know how mad you can be at Taylor Jenkins though, because what he's sending out there, the old Bill Parcells line, I can only cook the food that the front office gives me.
That's right. Yeah.
And you looked up at times last night, and some of those combinations, it was just pure laughable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean that goes back to the injuries and
to the drafting
and to the drafting. But last night was not fun. And to make matters worse, Brett, just personally, I got home last night, and you know how technology is nowadays. I mean, everything is going through your internet and our televisions and everything. You have to have internet to be able to use any of the televisions or anything. Our internet was out last night, and so I had to go to Huey's to watch the game last night, and so it was interesting. I got to hear from a couple tables around me. They were very loud in what they thought of the Grizzlies and their performance last night. So last night was an interesting night all around.
So you got nothing last night. It had nothing to do with the Bally's app?
No, I had nothing because
I saw a lot of Bally's app frustration.
We are getting our house painted, and they cut the wrong wire, and it was the wire to our internet.
Invariably.
And so, but it was really my fault because my dad was like, make sure, see what wire it is, and see if they should cut it. And I said, maybe don't cut it. I don't know if it'll do anything or not.
I'm always opposed to cutting any wires.
And so they cut it, and we didn't have
anti-wire cutting.
Because
it's going to something.
Yeah, I should have known better. After the fact, I was like, that was dumb of me. But, yeah, so we got to go to Huey's and watch the game. Me and my brother and my buddy.
And it was a rough night, and some rough nights are ahead. I think if we had to redo all those preseason predictions from just 8 days ago, we would do them.
Yeah.
We would change them.
Yes, I was thinking back to, I mean, it was like every show in this area right when the schedule was released was, okay, forget 82 games. Let's just look at those first 25 games and let's go
And I
through
said
those.
13 and 12.
And I was right there. I don't remember the exact number, but it was in that range, certainly. Well, going back now, if we were to pull out the schedule today and say what we know, it would certainly not be 13 and 12 or, however you want to dice it up in that range. It would be much worse than that.
Still extremely early and still
Sure.
a lot of a huge reservoir of goodwill that the Zach Kleiman front office group's built. But it does feel like people, maybe not quite the hall pass that Penny Hardaway gets, and we understand why he gets it.
Sure.
And why he has gotten it through 5 years of, I won't say nothing. It's been more than nothing. But it hadn't been a lot.
Right.
It's been no deep run in the tournament. That's 2 wins in a single tournament. And you can talk about not getting a timeout and what this team might have done last year. I just look at the record book and I see a loss and a first-round exit last year.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's how it is. I know why he gets the runway he gets. I think it's very deserved.
Sure.
I don't know why this management group of the Grizzlies is still getting quite as much. It's won one playoff series against the knuckle nut T-Wolves.
Oh man, what a time that was, that Timberwolves group. Wow.
And pulled jaw teeth to win it against Pat Bev.
Sure did. Needed every ounce of everybody on the roster.
Had to whoop every trick you
that's
could
right.
to get that
That's
win.
right. I mean,
But yet around town, it's just the Wonderkins.
trust the front office and all of that jazz. I mean, I think it all goes back to you got 2 top 5 picks and they worked out, but then kind of the Desmond Bain pick and the Xavier Tillman and Brandon Clark. But, those are now, how many years
Those
ago
last
is that
two
now?
you named, what are they really giving you?
Well, that's a good, but, they had some stints that I think played into that building of, okay, well,
Sure.
they really got a steal here, and that's what built it up. Because, Brett, I don't think we're having that same conversation about this front office today. There are still a lot of people that believe in that front office, but I think that's waning a little bit than what it was last year and the year before, and I think that was because of what those players had built up to that point.
And they're a little bit insulated by the Steven Adams injury, yet you could really blame let me rephrase. You could really question a lot of the handling of that on front office vis-a-vis medical.
Brett, and I think that is a great point because, like you just said, we've been talking about this a lot since it was announced that Steven Adams was going to miss the season. But we were all last season. I remember DeMichael Cole would join us every single week, and God bless him for it. But every single time he came on, our question was the exact same: when is Steven Adams going to play, and when are we going to get an update on him? And he had to sit there every single time and say, "I don't know. We haven't even gotten an update. I don't know when they're going to get it." And then we go through the offseason. We get to preseason. They say he's fine. He's out there playing games. Nobody has said anything about, well, we've still got to see. There's still some question marks out of there. And then 2 days before the season, it's thrown out there after he's played in preseason games, after he's looked fine, after the coaching staff has said that he looks great out there, it's announced he's out for the season. I think that's the biggest problem that people need to look at this front office is when it comes to injuries. Sandy Aldama has been day-to-day for a week and a half now, and now it sounds like he's getting closer to game, but, he's out there. Derrick Rose is now thought to be maybe weekly in terms of his injury. How long's he going to be
Not expecting another injury evaluation for him, reevaluated in a week.
Exactly. So, I mean, when it comes to injuries, this front office has been, I think, far from trust the front office.
It has been, and again, their image and the shelf life has got to be expiring on this. The image has been, and a lot of it well earned, but just the smartest guys in the room with all the diplomas and all the MBAs from all the right schools.
Yeah.
Well, this is a franchise that did go to a Western Conference Finals one time.
Yeah, and
this one hadn't gotten close. Do you think next spring's going to be the push for one?
No, I do not. Not after this start. No, unfortunately. But
and the whole everybody can have liberties at people's draft nights because you can always go and find the person that did better after the spot you picked in.
Sure.
But my criticism has been going into drafts.
Oh yeah.
Not after draft night. It's been before drafts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you're right. But I'm starting to see people questioning draft picks and draft decisions from Jake LaRavia and what he's done. David Roddy. I think David Roddy gets a little more Zaire. But, I mean, Brett, we're talking about all of these guys that will spend a good amount of time in the G League this year getting, let's go down the list. Vince Williams last night got 16 minutes. Jacob Gilliard got 20 minutes.
Oh, my goodness, Jacob Gilliard getting 20 minutes on a November 2nd game.
Kenny Lofton.
November 1st, rather.
That's right. Kenny Lofton got 19 minutes. Jake LaRavia, your first-round draft pick from 2 years ago, played 9 minutes.
And another one of kind of around town pets pointed to as either a reclamation project or a crafty pick. Old number 46.
Oh, old Conchar. Well, you're talking about Conchar, right? Well, Brett, I mean, you're confusing me now because I know you got that Conchar jersey in
I
your.
Never had a jersey.
No.
It was facetious.
Oh man, yeah. No.
It was me poking at all the people arguing over is he 9th man or 10th man? Should he play 9 minutes or 11 minutes?
What a weird time that was, Brett.
And then he would have a dunk and take that. SEC bootlicker.
How about Jacob Gilliard? Got more minutes, and Kenneth Lofton, for that matter, got more minutes than John Conchar.
My God, the brain matter wasted over John Conchar.
That's right. John Conchar last night did bring in 7 rebounds, but still, I mean, there's a lot of questions I think around this team and some of the that bench depth. I know. Obviously, last night you kind of have to take it with a grain of salt because it was a blowout and your starters did not play much at all. Especially in the fourth quarter. They didn't play a second in the fourth quarter. And so you're seeing these bench, and you're seeing, 12 points, 9 points. But last game against the Mavericks, the bench combined for 13 points. You cannot have that and expect to win games. And if this wasn't a blowout, I'm pretty sure you would get the same thing out of this bench group last night against Utah. This bench group's just not producing anything offensively, and defensively, this entire team has been very questionable the last couple of games, really all season.
And now we're seeing these big think piece stories on behind the scenes around those days last spring around Ja, whether it was in Denver or afterwards, and about the front office being very forthright with him about this has to stop, this has to end.
Yeah.
You've got to make better decisions, and with that and with his return, this front office is going to end up being defined by whatever he does or doesn't do.
Sure.
He is their superstar player. He is our superstar player in this market. First time we've ever had one like that, and we will only go as far as making a run for a title with him or without him. And if it's without him, if they ever have to deal out of him, that's when that whole bunch has to go.
Sure. Absolutely. I don't think there's any question about it. I mean, at that point, you've just got a complete hard restart and really reassess your organization and your front office. But we're going to talk a lot about the Grizzlies today throughout the show. But let me set up today's show. Before we get to top and not top story of the day, 3:30, Bill Bender from the Sporting News will join us to talk some college football as we're getting close to another weekend of action. So we'll get to that in our next segment with Bill at 3:30. 3:45, we've got to talk about the World Series. The Texas Rangers got it done last night in Arizona, so we'll talk about that. Some things we noticed in the World Series, what this means for the Rangers, what it means for MLB. I also, Brett, have the 2024 odds already out. Not even 24 hours after the Rangers get the trophy. We have odds for next season, so we'll do that 3:45. 4 o'clock, Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show will join us to talk the NBA. We'll get all of his thoughts about the Grizzlies, what's going on right now, and what's going on around the rest of the league at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll get into tonight's Thursday night football game between the Titans and the Steelers. We'll also talk some other NFL notes. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Greg Gaston will join us to talk Tigers. 5:30, we'll get to what's trending, and at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The Overstock sale, it's going on right now, and Family Leisure needs your help to clear out their overstock inventory. Select patio sets up to 50% off. Play gyms under $2,000. Extended sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. In the winter, pool closing items are up to 30% off. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off their in-stock items. And Family Leisure also has saunas, massage chairs, arcades, and theater seatings, all with free delivery and their special financing. It's still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
901-360-8255 to weigh in on Grizzlies or any topics. And how much do you put on this start on Ja Morant, the star player who has 20 more games until he returns? He's Brian. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us as well in this hour of our show, brought to you every day by our title sponsor, and that's Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway, and online at lexusofmemphis.com. The one and only Lexus dealership in town with great offers on the remaining 2023 models and all those beautiful 24s that are starting to arrive, and always special leasing options. Call them at 901-334-9673. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of those 23s and 24 flagship LS500s, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story, we spent a lot of time talking about it, but the Grizzlies drop another one to start the season 0-5. Last night, it was the Utah Jazz with a 133-109 win over the Grizzlies. I talked about DeMichael Cole's story, and it's starting off with this sentence: everything that could go wrong did, and it sure did. It wasn't really a game early. Utah outscored the Grizzlies 42-19 in the first quarter and shot 80% on 10 attempts from behind the arc. So, I mean, just every shot they were knocking down. The Grizzlies defense, they were trying to help. They're rotating over, and Utah seemed to find the open man pretty much every time they were on the offensive end of the court. By halftime, the Grizzlies trailed by 33, and the Jazz at half had more made three-pointers, 14, than the Grizzlies had made shots in the first half. The Grizzlies had 13 total field goals made in the first half, where, like I said, the Jazz had 14 made threes in that first half. So a really, really tough first half. Now, if you want to give anything credit, and it's very hard in this situation because, like, the Grizzlies rested all their starters and sat all their starters when they got down by so much, Utah did the same thing, and the Grizzlies ended up outscoring the Jazz in the second half, which
they did fight.
They fought.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a lot of bad last night. Not a lot of good to take away from that game.
I thought Brevin made that great point that Taylor Jenkins wanted to see who would fight.
Yeah, and I think you saw that in the second half. Now, again, I think both teams were playing, deep in bench reserves, especially late in the game. But they did. They showed fight in the second half. They had dug themselves such a deep hole in the first half. There was no coming back. So it was bad, but now they'll go up to Portland, play 2 games. One of those games will be part of the in-season tournament. The first time we'll get a look at that, but just a really poor effort last night for the Grizzlies.
It was. My top story, champions of baseball, the Texas Rangers, with old school skipper Bruce Bochy. In this era of the Ivy League NBA types with all their PowerPoint displays, really for any topic. Look at the last 4 World Series winning managers: Bochy, Baker, Snitker, and Roberts. As old school as it gets in an era where the field manager has been so devalued by all the Ivy League types. Well, look who's won it all. The old school guys. All the nuances of a Gabe Kapler or a Ollie Marble, or for that matter, Kevin Cash. What have they won? Nothing. What's Goofy Craig Counsell won? Nothing.
And Goofy Craig Counsell now, in New York to interview with the Mets.
How you think that's going to go?
Yeah, I think more of the same from the Mets that we've seen these last 2 years.
Not top story of the day.
Well, I'm going to stick right there with my not top story of the day. The Texas Rangers got it done last night in Arizona, winning the World Series, and this was a really fun game to watch last night. Zach Gallen for the D-backs really gave it everything he had, and it was only a 1-0 game.
Had a no-hitter for a long time.
Had a I think no-hitter through 6 innings, I believe. I think in the 7th inning.
Look out Don Larson.
Yeah, really. But it was in the 9th inning when things started to fall apart for the D-backs. Alek Thomas had just an awful error, and I really like Alek Thomas. A really bad error in center field where the ball just rolled right under his glove. A lot of people saying that broke
the floodgates.
And people are saying that broke the Nelson Cruz curse for the Rangers after like you mentioned yesterday. Poor defensive performance from Nelson Cruz back in 2011. But that kind of opened it up. They scored 2 runs to make it 3-0 on that play, and then Marcus Semien with a 2-run bomb to make it 5-0. And I found this earlier. Me and John Harden were talking about this earlier. The Rangers didn't record an error in their last 7 games of the season. The last time they had a game where they recorded an error was a loss. It was the last time they lost to the Houston Astros on October 20th.
That's good ball. That is good.
Really
a good note, too. My not top story, Big Ten coaches all in a snit because Michigan's been beating them at their own game. All these stories you see about Big Ten coaches are mad. Big Ten calling the commissioner. Just replace Ryan Day's name in all those stories. This is being led by Ryan Day. You think the guy at Purdue can even get his call returned from the Big Ten commissioner? Or the old boat rower up at Minnesota? You think P.J. Fleck's got any weight around the conference? This is all Ryan Day inspired. I don't blame him for being mad. He got outfoxed. He got outfoxed by Jim Harbaugh, and it was underhanded. It was a little bit of dirty pool. But all these stories you see about Big Ten coaches are mad. It's Ryan Day that's mad. He's mad he's lost 2 in a row. He's mad at Lou Holtz. He's mad at the SEC. He's mad at Harbaugh. And he's going to be even madder this year because Ohio State's not winning it this year either.
No, you're right about that. But, man, a lot of mad people out there about this. It just seems like every time I open anything, whether it be one of these sports sites or Twitter
it's
or anything.
Transference. It's got to be somebody else's fault we lost.
Absolutely. And now you're seeing a lot of people trying to dig back the past years of good teams that lost to Michigan and trying to find ways to blame somebody and say, well, they were cheating when they won.
How in the world did Georgia beat them so bad then?
Yeah, good question. It's a mess. But that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll talk college football. We'll talk about this Michigan situation with Bill Bender. That's next on Sportstime.
You already know you can listen to Sports 56 anywhere with the Sports 56 app or at sports56whbq.com. But you can also watch us daily with live video of all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Joining Brian and Brett now on Sports Time is Bill Bender, national college football writer for the Sporting News and on Twitter X at Bill Bender. Here's Bill with Brian and Brett.
Bill Bender joining us now from the Sporting News to talk college football. Bill, thanks so much for joining us. And me and Brett talked a little bit about it before we went to break, but we talked to you about it last week, and it still continues to be a story with more and more information coming out. But the situation at Michigan, we now have some pictures and videos that look like Connor Stalions might have been at a Central Michigan game in Central Michigan gear in a game against Michigan State. What have you made of this new information that has come out since we last talked to you?
I mean, I'm bored with it, honestly.
Yeah.
I've been talking about it for 3 weeks. So it's like, to me, it's either have the Big Ten launch an investigation and get some sort of punishment going, or let's move on. You know what I mean? Like, because if they're going to try to do something, and I've read everything, and I get that there's a lot of frustration from Big Ten coaches, as there should be. Get this going and get a punishment so we know what's next.
Yes.
I don't think we're going to get that, though. I think it's going to continue to drag on, and whether or not if Michigan broke the rules, they should be punished. I mean, it comes down to that. We can do the mental gymnastics around it all we want, but I don't know what that punishment is.
How do you think it should be meted out? Should it be suspension of Harbaugh? Should it be forfeited games? Should it be immediate and they don't go to the playoffs? I'm so opposed to that, Bill. First of all, who wants to be that team that, yeah, we got Michigan spot. We really didn't deserve it, but we got Michigan spot.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think, to me, I've had long discussions about this and meetings and everything and over the phone. And just if they are true and these allegations end up being true, you fire Connor Stalions probably, and you suspend Harbaugh and or the coordinators for some length of time. But I don't think you take Michigan off the field. Some people would argue you should, and they're entitled to their opinion. And there's a school of thought that, yeah, they got a competitive advantage. They should be pulled off the field. But I wouldn't. You're not playing it out, and you're taking it away from players. And it's unprecedented. I just can't see that.
Bill, I wouldn't want that spot if Michigan got that heavy-handed treatment. No more than 38 years later, if Major League Baseball said, okay, we're going to right the wrong. Don Dinkinger blew it. Cardinals win. Cardinals are champions. I don't want it that way. I wanted it right that night.
Right. You wonder what it's going to be like and who it takes away from it. So I'll give you an example. If you like when Louisville had its national title vacated in 2013, or USC had its BCS championship vacated in 2004, I never think the other way. Like
never.
Man, Oklahoma won that title. That thought is, or Michigan won that national. I've never thought like that ever. And
I don't on these goofy vacated games that make media guys impossible to understand now.
And just for me, it's like we saw what happened on the field. You can recognize that cheating's wrong. And again, this is not right. If these are true, and especially the Central Michigan is true, then yes, Michigan absolutely should be punished, and probably pretty severely. I just don't know if that's going to get done when you talk about injunctions and all those kind of things that could happen if you try to take them off the field.
Bill, I promise you, and I have been on this for years from a safety point of view, and I thought the COVID year was really going to clean it out. I've been after for years. There's too many people on the sideline that have no business. I've been after that because I think somebody's going to be badly injured when they're watching the Jumbotron and then the player gets on top of them fast, or they're waving at, Aunt Lucille in the stands and the play gets on them fast. But this is another reason why I think we have to have strict limits on who's on the sideline and exactly who are they and why are they down there.
I agree. Yeah, because, again, that's how these things happen. There are so many people on the sideline between recruits and people. And, I know a couple years ago at the Michigan Ohio State game that JT Barrett ran into a photographer and got hurt because there were so many on the sideline and it was a tight sideline. So, yeah, I do think some implications for the NCAA, they'll probably put a headset radio in there. They'll probably change some of the language to make this more strict, I would imagine, and hopefully, like I said, we can move on. We've been talking about this for 8 minutes. There's so many good games on the field this weekend, and all I'm talking about Michigan and sign stealing. I think it's absurd.
Let's talk ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
I love the way you said it. We're just sitting here talking about it. Either do something or move on, and let's just stop talking about it. So, Bill, let's get to some of these games this weekend because, like you said, there are some really, really good games. I want to start off with an SEC game with you, a game that Brett will be at early Saturday morning, Texas A&M and Ole Miss. I really like this Texas A&M defensive line specifically. What have you made of Ole Miss so far this season, and then this Texas A&M team coming into this week at Ole Miss?
Well, the line looks tricky because I would, at first glance, I'm like, well, Ole Miss ought to run through them.
Yeah.
Quinshot Judkins ought to have a good game. Jackson Dart hasn't turned the ball over. Defense is solid. They're probably, I think we said this last week, the 7-1 team on the board, and little help on Saturday to be looking really good going into that Georgia game. So, yeah, I like Ole Miss to win here. I think it might be tight. Apparently the lines makers like Texas, and I always perks my ears up when that's the case, but definitely should be a good game.
Should Ohio State be on upset alert at Piscataway or just close game, uncomfortable in the fourth quarter alert?
Well,
or neither?
I think they'll be fine, but you always be aware on the road. We've had considerable debate this week on how good Rutgers is. It's one of those deals where I think the Knights have a 6-2 team. They're really good. They've been better. Their quarterback struggled a little bit, though, and Ohio State typically knocks them out on the road pretty quickly. Buckeyes responded well to 3 turnovers in the first half last week against Wisconsin. I thought they played their defense is just so darn good. And I think that will continue on the road. So the Buckeyes look for them to continue rolling toward that end of the year matchup against Michigan with an unbeaten record.
Bill, what did you make of Georgia's win against Florida last week? I heard a lot of people going into that game talking about, well, Brock Bowers, first game without him, look out, maybe Florida can keep it close, maybe they can pull an upset. What did you make of that win over the weekend, and now for Georgia, a big game at home against a Missouri team that's been really impressive offensively this year?
Yeah, Missouri, they've got a heck of a trio there with and Burden and Connor Schrader. They can run the ball. They can throw the ball. They're well balanced. They've got the confidence of knowing that they played well against Georgia last year. So I definitely think it should be a fun game. And I think after Tuesday night, when Georgia was ranked number 2, you got to believe that Kirby's probably telling them every 5 minutes they're ranked number 2 and they're the underdog now, and that's all the fuel he needs.
Yeah.
I think Georgia ends up winning the game, but it'll probably be pretty close.
USC at 7-2, and we've seen the last 2 weeks. Now, Saturday they host Washington, next week at Oregon, and then the big intercity matchup against UCLA. What do they go over these next 3? They're 7-2 now. How does USC and Caleb Williams' season finish?
They could still win the Pac-12. They win Saturday. They're in business.
Yeah.
I like them too. I think
I do too.
The way the Washington's looked suspect the last 2 weeks, both of these run defenses struggle. I mean, Washington could blow their doors off because that USC defense is really bad. But I think Caleb Williams, with the extra wrinkle of NFL draft talk with Michael Penix, will end up pretty well. So it's going to be a fun game. Shootouts are fun games, and once you get in those high 30s, shootouts become toss-ups. So I give the Trojans a decent chance there. The 3-point line got my attention too.
Absolutely. Well, Bill, another game I'm interested in this week, and it seems like more people have talked about Dabo Swinney's rant on Monday night on his coach's show more than they've been talking about this game this weekend for Clemson at home hosting Notre Dame, a ranked team, and a game Clemson really needs, sitting at 4-4 right now. They need all the wins they can get. What do you make about this early game on ABC on Saturday?
It'll be fun. Clemson, obviously, Tyler from Spartanburg let his thoughts out
Sure
there
did.
this week. And Dabo's got a point. There was just no need for him to punch down. I think it's going to get worse for them this week than it gets better because they're running into a Notre Dame team that can run the football, that Sam Hartman's been really good. Their defense has created 5 turnovers each of the last 2 weeks, and it definitely could be trouble. But they are playing at Death Valley. It's a tough place to play. So it's a rise-up moment for Clemson. It's hard for me to criticize Dabo for what he's done. It's fair to say they're going to need to reevaluate some of the way they do some things as they get into the 12-team college football playoff era.
Who is the quarterback out there in college football right now, if he has the Max Duggan November, could vault them into the playoffs like Duggan led TCU last year?
Good question. I mean, maybe Drew Aller in some ways if they beat Michigan and they catch a break and win that quirky Big Ten East tiebreaker. I think Jackson Dart's that kind of guy with Ole Miss that, hey, if they went out and get a little bit of help from LSU this week, they could make their way to the SEC championship. They might have to beat Georgia twice to do it. That would be wild. And then the Pac-12, Bo Nix has just kind of been around. I mean, he's kind of like Max Duggan. Played forever, good leader, gets another chance at Washington maybe or somebody in the Pac-12 title game. I think Bo Nix, maybe out of the ones I just said, might fit that description the most.
Bodacious answer, Bill.
Bodacious, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, you were waiting all day to do that.
I was, Bill.
Beat you to the punch.
I had it on the tee all day. That was the long drive contest tee right there.
Good. Oh, well, Bill, it should be a fun weekend of games. Thanks so much
Enjoy.
for joining us, and we'll do it again next week.
Hey, you guys are the best. Thanks so much for having me. Take care.
Thanks,
You're
Bill.
the best, Bill. You are the best. We really appreciate it. From up in OH.
I.O.
Thank you, Bill Bender. I
was waiting for that all day. I mean,
I thought you'd hit the delay there for a second.
No.
I was afraid I'd curse or something.
No.
Bill Bender with us every week from the Sporting News, and we enjoy it. And we talk on Thursdays as we're counting down to the big Thursday coming up, the big holiday, Thanksgiving Thursday. And it should start at the commissary with the holiday bird and everything that goes with it. Smoked turkey, homemade cornbread dressing, gravy, mashed potatoes, cranberry sauce, green beans, rolls, butter, plates, and utensils. You're on your own for liquids. They'll sell you a big jug of sweet tea. So no, you're not on your own. You're on your own for cleaning up. You ask nicely, they might even do that. You better ask real nicely, though. Boy, Walker Taylor's going to kill me. But you got me cleaning up for all these people on Thanksgiving. No. But have your Thanksgiving, have it the commissary way. the Memphis style way, and they love doing. Here's the number to order: 901-754-5540. That's for turkey. That's for hams. That it feeds all that you want, all the sides, the bulk pricing, and you will have a day where it will be stress-free for that person planning the big meal. Again, 901-754-5540. Call now. They're selling out. The list is really filling up. You need to call now, make the plans. I would hate for you to last second want to do this and it not be there for you. 901-754-5540. Have your Thanksgiving tradition be from the commissary, and you'll do it again for the December holidays at Christmas time. I guarantee it. And the barbecue, the Memphis slow-cooked way at the commissary. If you're craving an easier way to order, you can text commissary right now at 33733. The desserts, all the sides, everything that goes with it. Two great locations like the Collierville Commissary at Houston, Levy, and Poplar, or the original in Germantown, 901-754-5540, or go online at commissarybbq.com. They've got you set in the party areas, orders to go, catering, tailgating, and the holidays. All set at the commissary at 901-754-5540 or online at commissarybbq.com.
Well, last night we crowned a new Major League Baseball World Series champion. The Texas Rangers got the job done on the road last night. So let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about what the Rangers did this postseason and their World Series win. That's next on Sports Time.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
A cold shower is no way to start your day. Purchase a new water heater from the pros at Conway Services, and you may be eligible for up to $2,000 in federal tax credits. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions.
License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Thursday Night Football is on, and it's only on Prime. Tonight, two of the NFL's toughest teams tangle when the Tennessee Titans travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Not a Prime member? Sign up for a 30-day free trial to stream the game. Coverage begins at 7 p.m. Eastern with TNF Tonight, presented by Verizon, live from Pittsburgh. It's the Titans and the Steelers, tonight on Thursday Night Football, and it's on Prime. Restrictions apply. See Amazon.com/Amazon Prime for details.
Start your day the right way at La Palapa with the biggest, baddest breakfast burrito around. Chorizo, cheese, rice, beans, and eggs served with fresh salsa, and it's served all day. La Palapa has daily lunch specials, all served with rice and beans, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Try a torta, breaded chicken, steak, chorizo, or ham served with mayo, avocado, lettuce, tomato, and jalapenos, all in a hoagie. Plus amazing soups and dinner entrees, all at La Palapa, 5255 Summer Avenue. La Palapa, the little hut with big taste.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One. Join Ross Tucker and me for Thursday Night Football to start NFL Week 9 when the Steelers host the Titans. Can Derrick Henry and Tennessee pick up a second straight win as they face T.J. Watt and the Pittsburgh defense? Or will it be the home team Steelers that get their offense on track to improve to 5-3 on the season? Find out on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
Score early this NFL season with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, spreads, player props, over-unders, and more. I like putting a spread bet together with the over for my parlays, and anytime player touchdown always has me on the edge of my seat. So if you're ready to do the same, visit FanDuel.com/win and kick off the NFL season. That's FanDuel.com/win. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
21 plus and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. $5 pregame money line wager required. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call TN Redline 1-800-889-9789.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Well, Brett, we have one less team that has never won a World Series in Major League Baseball because the Texas Rangers, they have one under their belt now. It was fun to see last night. The celebration was great. That game was great. Like we said earlier during Top and Not Top Story, it was a 1-0 game. I mean, Zach Gallen had a no-hitter there for a really long time, and it was looking like maybe the D-backs could do enough to stretch it to another game. But that 9th inning, misfortunate error, and then next thing you know, it's 5-0, and it really looked like Texas just needed 3 outs, and that's exactly what they did in the bottom of the 9th inning. The celebration began, and I really am happy that the Rangers finally have that World Series.
I am too, and it knocks Arizona out of the ranks of the undefeated all-time in World Series. They were 1-0.
Yeah.
They're now out of that. Seattle, they've never been, so they're still undefeated, but they've never been. Miami remains 2-0.
Wow.
Toronto remains 2-0.
Wow.
And the Angels and Washington both 1-0.
Really?
Of teams that have been there.
Sure.
And now Seattle's the only one that's never been.
Right.
Rockies have never won a World Series. They've been there.
Sure.
Milwaukee's never won one. They've been there. But out of the undefeated ranks for Arizona. So in the 21st century, we've talked about it. So the Rangers get their 16 out of 30 Major League Baseball teams, and to have done it in 24 World Series.
Yeah.
That's really marking time for a lot of people.
Sure
We've mostly agreed yesterday the Mets should be the next, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Who should be next in the NFL?
Oh, man.
Not to win it in the 21st century.
Just to win it ever. Oh no, you're saying in the 21st century.
Just to win it in this century.
In this century.
That brings you Cowboys in.
I was about to say, I mean, am I a homer if I say the Dallas Cowboys? I mean.
No, you're a fan, though.
I think Johnny would say differently, but, yeah.
What about San Francisco?
Certainly up there. Absolutely. San Francisco is a really good one.
They've got Super Bowls, but they don't have any in this century. What about from the NBA? This is a team that mine is one that's never won it in any century. Denver got there last year, first time ever, and in this 21st century.
Go through teams that haven't done it this century.
Clippers.
I like that. I like
and
that
they
a lot.
could.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely could.
College football, they've won it, but not in this century. I think Michigan is there.
Certainly, yeah.
And in college basketball, they've won it, and I've got them winning it this year, but they haven't won it in this century. Arkansas.
I like Arkansas. Gonzaga, maybe? Can we get some love for Gonzaga?
We keep waiting.
We keep waiting, and I'm starting to not wait. I think this is the first time in the last 3 years I haven't had Gonzaga in my Final Four, and which means, Brett, this is the year they're going to win the whole thing. I mean, so if you're out there listening,
Tennessee's not going to win it in football this year, but they could in basketball.
They could in basketball. They've got a really, really good
and that
team.
would be first
Sure.
ever, first 21st century.
And that would shake second round Rick off of Rick Barnes, I guess. If
that would bury it, wouldn't it?
It sure would. I mean, when you got a ring, then you can't really say much after that. But
and really, Mark Few gets that he has that buffer zone around him. He doesn't have a ring, but he's not second round Mark Few.
Right. No, he's gone deep. He just can't get the job done. But no, those are some good teams for all of those. You put your thinking cap on this morning and got to work. What did you think of Corey Seager and obviously the terrific postseason, but getting named the World Series MVP last night?
it was slam dunk. If I think even if it, I don't know, if it goes 7 and Evaldi wins game 7 and pitches like he did, then Seager could have had some competition for it. But if they win it in 5 like they did, or in 6,
it seemed runaway.
I thought it was him runaway, and it has hit me a couple times today. And I don't mean this to disparage him at all. He is a great player.
Okay.
But Corey Seager, as a regular player, not as a pitcher,
Sure.
with Reggie Jackson as
Wow.
2-time MVPs of the World Series.
You're right. Wow.
With 2 different teams as well. Reggie Jackson has a nickname synonymous with the World Series. It's called Mr. October.
Wow. That's
and then when you think about the 2 pitchers, arguably, I could argue Warren Spahn, I could argue Steve Carlton, I could argue some others, but certainly, arguably, Sandy Koufax, best left-handed pitcher ever.
I mean, one of the best pitchers ever, lefty or righty. I mean,
and then right-hander Bob Gibson.
Yeah, I mean that is an elite group to be a part of.
Corey Seager's in a club with Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, and Reggie Jackson.
That's incredible, Brett. Maybe one day we'll be having a different conversation about Corey Seager.
I don't think I think we just talked about it longer than he's thought about it today.
Oh yeah, easily.
But when he's 50 and 60 years old, he's
gosh.
going to think about, I'm in a club with a guy named Mr. October, Sandy Koufax, and Bob Gibson.
Yeah, that's incredible. I mean, that is unbelievable, but well-deserved this year. I mean,
Certainly.
He was unbelievable. Really,
and a free agent shortstop in the offseason. Out there to be taken, $325 million, 10 years. Cardinals stuck with Paul DeYoung.
Yikes, Brett. Well, that's you really stumped me there. I have nothing to. I love the Cardinals. I love defending the Cardinals. I've got nothing to say. We're gonna talk basketball on the other side with Keith Smith.
Simple, smooth, and every sip as easy as the last. Tito's handmade vodka tastes just as good with tap water as it does with your favorite mixer. Back in the day, Tito distilled, hand-bottled, taste-tested, sent to a few friends, then taste-tested again to give you the finest juice around. No frills, no flavors, no fancy labels, just the good stuff. Just Tito's. For recipes, videos, and more, visit Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas, 40% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
East Memphis Ace Hardware is more than just a hardware store. It's really a customer service store. With 20 employees along with complete inventory of items, big to little, finding what you need is easy. Choosing from a complete selection of Big Green Egg as well as Traeger and Weber grills. And the Garden Center has everything for your yard. You can get glass cut, repair screens, even new keys with key fob programming. Tools, nuts, bolts, screws, you need it. East Memphis Ace Hardware has it. And they're just down the street at the corner of Quince and White Station.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We had that earlier car fire on 240 eastbound on that ramp to I-40. They're on the scene over there. It's not causing too much of a backup, but they're trying to wrap it up as traffic starts to increase on 240 east up by Poplar. 240 is a little bit busy now getting on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway and starting to build headed out towards Collierville. Hey, get rid of that old junk car right now by calling Memphis for Junk Cars. That telephone number is 258-8999. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Time to talk NBA with Keith Smith from Spot Rack and the Front Office Show, and on Twitter X at Keith Smith NBA. Here's Keith Smith talking basketball with Bryant and Brett.
Keith Smith joining us from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, thanks so much for joining us. We have a week of basketball in the books, and the Memphis Grizzlies still looking for their first win of the season. Made it 0-5 last night with a loss in Utah against the Jazz. What have you made of the start of the season for the Grizzlies, and where do they go from here?
Yeah, this is a rough start. I think we all thought it might go a little rough for Memphis, and they had some stuff to figure out. And then the Steven Adams injury hit, later than I think anybody could have really been prepared for, and that put them really behind the 8 ball. And not having Santi Aldama, it's been a rough go, and they've had some difficult games in this early part of the season as well. So all you can do is try to weather the storm as best you can. You can't win 5 in the next one, right, and get back to 500. You take it one game at a time, try to get back into the mix and even things up as best you can and go from there. But it's definitely going to be a tricky spot for them to dig out of this hole. Your big goal now is let's not be something like 5-20 when John Morant returns. So let's try to get this at least a little under control. And if we're 10-15 or something like that, at least then we're kind of moving in the right direction.
How much does Bismack Biyombo help?
I think he'll help. He'll help defensively for sure. He's a guy who's, he provides a lot of rim protection, so that gives Jared Jackson Jr. the ability to kind of play more of his normal role and kind of float around and do the things he does. Xavier Tillman, he's tough, he's rugged, but he's not really going to give you a lot of shot blocking and those kind of things. Biyombo will do that. And beyond that, it's just good to have another depth guy in that front court, because it's really been piecemeal for them to try to get through this. I mean, we know sometimes, for Jaren Jackson Jr., that can be a challenge for him to stay on the court and avoid foul trouble. So just adding one more good quality big man into the mix, that's certainly going to help.
Who is it on? The coaching staff or Jaren Jackson or a combination that at this point in his career, he still is like this on defense when he doesn't have a sidekick down there? Why can't he be relied on like Steve Kerr tried in the Philippines and got roasted doing it?
Yeah, I think it's on Jaren Jackson Jr. I think at this point, the coaching staff, there's only so much you can do. You're going to, put him in positions to be successful, but if he's still out there, fouling everything that moves, then, you're in a tricky spot where it's not going to really probably go all that well for you. So, that makes it hard for him. That's something he's just got to get past. And we've seen guys, they come in and part of what makes them special is they'll commit a foul here and there, because a lot of times defensively, the coaches will tell you, oh yeah, he never fouls, but he never fouls because he's not playing any defense. And that's certainly not the case with Jaren Jackson Jr. But, for him, yeah, he's got to start picking this up a little bit better and being a little bit smarter. The ones that get me are the ones where, it's kind of these no-hope offensive rebound plays where he reaches in, 80 feet from the basket. Those are just, silly fouls. And then the ones where he's, up and he gambles unnecessarily, 50, 60 feet out, just before the half-court line. Those are the ones you get rid of those, and you'll start to clean everything up quite a bit.
One thing that I've noticed a lot of other people have pointed out is opposing teams early this season through these 5 games have been hitting a ton of threes against the Grizzlies. I think I saw a stat, at least like top 3 most three-pointers made against for their opponents. And last night against the Jazz, it was a three-point shooting fest for them. In the first quarter, they were 8 for 10. At halftime, they had more made threes than the Grizzlies had made field goals. What do you make of that, and how do the Grizzlies improve on that? Because I've seen some people saying, well, it can't just be a great shooting performance from every team you play. It's got to be something defensively.
Yeah, the truth generally lies somewhere in the middle with those kind of things. I think we're only 5 games in, so you certainly could have had, extremely, bad luck with good shooting performances against you. That is a thing that happens. But I think Dylan Brooks shows up there, not having him, having a guy like Zaire Williams, who's, really in effect almost a second-year player, because last year was such a lost season for him. And then you've got Xavier Tillman in there, and he's, I know he's played a lot for this team, but he's playing a much bigger role. And then Marcus Smart's a new guy there, good defender, but he's having to learn and figure out some guys. And then basically the bench has been, for the most part, it's a lot of guys who are playing that haven't played quite that big of a role in their careers as they're playing right now. So that turns into a tricky spot, for these guys where they're having to figure all this stuff out really kind of on the fly, and that can lead to some of those breakdowns. Because I haven't looked at the numbers, but where you get worried is, all right, if it's a lot of, just they're making shots, but they're contested, you tip your cap and say, hey, good for you. Mm-hmm. If they're making shots because they're wide open, well, then that's the sign of bigger problems, and that's not maybe something that is easily fixable.
You mentioned the prospect of you don't want to dig such a hole that you're 5-20 when Ja returns. How far is too far back, though, when Ja returns?
Yeah, in the West, it's tough. If you are sitting in that 11th spot and you're out of the play-in tournament, by the time he gets back, and you're out 5-6 games. I know everyone's going to say, well, there's still plenty of games to play. We still have 57 games to play by the time he gets back. But that your challenge is you're basically saying, all right, if you're back 5-6 games, you're making up a game every other week. Essentially.
It's hard to do.
If not more, and that starts to get really hard to do. So that becomes a really, a major, major challenge, because then what you're saying, too, is you got to go all out, all the way through the finish line in the regular season. Then you're going to have enough left to go when you get into the playoffs. This is a group that's struggled with injuries in the past, so you don't really want to be having to push super hard in March and April. So that's, it's important to not fall too far behind.
Keith, Bryant and I both, we lived this year with baseball season. We're big Cardinal fans, and we were singing that May 1st song. Well, a lot of season in front of the Cardinals, a lot of runway. They were out of it then. You can be out of it on December 1st and for sure January 1st in the NBA, can't you?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, we see it every year. Teams are. I always say, we don't know a whole lot until we get to right around Christmas. But by the time you get to Christmas, you've got a pretty good sense of, all right, this is the kind of team we think we're going to be. There's definitely exceptions to that. The last year's Lakers, became a very different team 2 years ago. The Boston Celtics were, fumbling around 500 late in January and then went on a monster run to close the year and made it all the way to the NBA Finals. So, those things do happen, but for the most part, you have a pretty good sense by the time you get to Christmas, and every once in a while, by the time, you're starting the month of December, a few weeks ahead of Christmas, you have a sense of, all right, you know what, we're just not the team we thought we were going to be.
Talking to Keith Smith from Spot Track and the Front Office Show. Keith, we haven't talked to you since the Clippers and the 76ers made a trade in the middle of the night to send James Harden to the Los Angeles Clippers. What did you make of that deal to get Harden to the place he's been hoping to get to all offseason?
Yeah, it's to some extent it's one of those where, all right, the player got what he wanted, but it also made sense because those are the guys who were willing to go get it.
Right.
There wasn't a massive market for James Harden, whether that was some of, hey, he doesn't want to be here, so why would we trade for him, or just, hey, we got to get this, sorted and figured out. But, it's really, going to be interesting to see what that looks like in L.A. because with James Harden joining Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and then Russell Westbrook, that's a lot of guys who need the ball, a lot. So that becomes, a little bit of a challenge is, last I checked, unless they're petitioning for a rule change, you can only play with one ball. So that becomes, a little bit of everybody's going to have to give and sacrifice. But Paul George, I believe, was the one who said it, like, hey, we had those conversations ahead of this, and if we didn't think we could make it work, we wouldn't have pushed for it and said, get it done. So I'm really interested on the Philly side. Good for them. They did really, really well to get a bunch of draft picks. Daryl Morey kind of said, hey, I've got a couple goals here. Either I need a star player back that keeps us in contention, or I need the draft pick assets that I can go get that star player, and I need to conserve my cap flexibility. He didn't get the star player yet, but he got the draft picks, and he conserved his cap flexibility, so mission accomplished on that front.
If the Clippers just got to the Western Conference Finals, could they claim victory for that trade?
I don't know. I think we're kind of to the point where we're past all that with them. Like they need to, really be winning, in the finals for this. Yeah. We're several years into this, group of these guys, and they've added other players, around them at various times. Of course, Harden's the biggest addition that they've had, but we're in a spot where, yeah, you gotta do better for me. Just making it to the West Finals. You're not hanging the banner for that, or you better not be. It's going to look awful silly in the arena next to all the Lakers title banners where made the Western Conference Finals once. But yeah, they're kind of all in now. So it's going to be, all right, if you're going to do it, now's the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Keith, we talked about the Grizzlies earlier and how they're still searching for their first win of the season, but we only have two teams in the NBA that are undefeated so far. The Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference are 4-0. The Dallas Mavericks in the Western Conference are 4-0. What have you made out of both of those teams in their strong starts, I should say?
Yeah, I think it's been a little bit different. The Celtics, they played a couple close ones and then two major blowouts where they just hammered the Wizards and the Pacers. And those are teams they should beat. But, when you're out there, they were up by 30 and pushing 40 on the Wizards for most of the night, so they emptied the bench. And then, the reserves gave a whole lot of points. And then with the Pacers, I think the reserves said, hey, we're not giving up points here, and they kept it going and ended up, I think, a 51-point victory last night. So, I mean, this is, really something, and the balance for them. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are leading the way, but Kristaps Porzingis is doing a lot. Derek White, Drew Holiday, Al Horford, they're getting enough out of the bench guys. They look really, really good and really, really tough. Like they're going to be there all year. And then the Mavs, they're getting it done closer games. and it's a lot of Luka magic that's happening, right? There's a lot of
we saw it here.
Luka, and he's going to make exactly. He's going to make something happen, and get us a win, and just a little bit of a different way of getting it done. And they're dealing with some injuries, so we'll see when Kyrie Irving gets back and what everything comes together for them. But yeah, it's been interesting so far.
Two fun young teams tonight. One really, really young in the Detroit Pistons playing in New Orleans against the Pelicans. We saw the Pelicans here on opening night for the Grizzlies, and they've got a lot of good young pieces, but they look like a veteran-laden team compared to Detroit.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, tonight's going to look a little weird because I think a bunch of guys are out for the Pelicans, including Zion, I think is getting a rest day, which is, that's become a dirty term. This early in the season, nobody really wants to hear it, with these rest days already. But, Detroit, this is time for them to start showing their steps forward. They don't necessarily have to win a whole bunch of games. They don't need to be pushing for a postseason spot. But if they show, hey, we can be competitive, we can play meaningful basketball into February, maybe into March, that's a great step forward for them because they've been down. And Cade Cunningham, for what it's worth, he got all that publicity, how great he looked this summer and how amazing he had played, for the select team against Team USA ahead of the World Cup. And he's really carried that over. He looks like he's, they're going to be, potentially the next All-Star for the Pistons.
Another game tonight, the Spurs and the Suns, they're back in action. They played each other on Tuesday where the Spurs got a last-second shot, I guess a couple seconds left in that game, but had to come back in that one to beat the Suns, a big game from Victor Wembanyama. What do you make of this team? I know a lot of the talk has been around Victor Wembanyama in his first year, but a lot of other really young and really fun players to watch on that Spurs team.
Yeah, I'm actually in Phoenix, so I'm going to see them play tonight in person. I'm really excited. I saw Victor Wembanyama play at Summer League, but now I'm excited to see him play for the real deal tonight. But that Spurs team, you hit the nail on the head there. They have a lot of kind of fun guys that we're watching them grow and develop. This Jeremy Sohan playing a pseudo point guard position has been fun. They're kind of putting the ball in Devin Vassell's hands a lot and saying, hey, you go and create some stuff. And Keldon Johnson, he's all but too happy to remind everybody, hey, I'm still here too, and I'm pretty good. And then Zach Collins, what a great story for a guy who looked like, at the end of his Portland tenure, like he was done. It didn't look like he was going to be healthy and be able to stay in the league. And here he is, playing great. He got the nice extension from the Spurs, and he's a really good mix with Wembanyama because Wembanyama, they're trying to feed him, slowly. Right, they're trying to give him little bites here and there of, hey, do this, do that. But really, let's play out on the perimeter. Let's use your athleticism. And Zach Collins has been a great fit with him because he'll do all the dirty work. And he's doing all the, banging and the screening and all the stuff that you need somebody alongside Wembanyama doing. So it's a fun Spurs team for sure. People are starting to get a little too crazy with, hey, maybe, playoffs in this first year. I don't think so. But, who knows, right? If Wembanyama if he starts improving, and figuring it out the, second and third time through playing these teams, and he's like, all right, I know what you did last time, now I'm ready for it, that's going to be something really fun to track.
Do you think the Spurs want to go to the playoffs this year?
Yeah, I think they'd be okay with it. They're starting to hit the tipping point of how many more young guys can you add to a roster, and this is, as it stands today, right here at the very beginning in November, this doesn't look like a great draft class this year, so that's going to be something we'll watch. Now, a couple of years ago, it didn't look like a great draft class at this point either, but then guys like Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, Chet Holmgren, they emerged, and that's now actually turned out to be a really good draft class. So I don't put too much stock in where those things are in November. We'll talk more in depth about that in February, March, and April. But I think, we're in a spot where if you're the Spurs, if we can make a push, let's make a push. Now, I'm not saying go start trading young kids and draft picks and go all in to try to make, the play-in tournament. That's certainly not a thing they should do. But, if you find yourself, come the trade deadline, like we're right there, hang on to guys like Doug McDermott and some of your other veterans and just keep it moving.
For the Los Angeles Lakers, there was a lot of talk, especially after that first game of the season, about LeBron James and maybe the minutes he would be playing this season, especially early. I think Darvin Ham talked about kind of limiting him. And these last couple of games, they've really had to rely on him to play a lot of minutes to stay in these games and win these games. What have you made of this start of the season for the Lakers?
Yeah, the best laid plans of mice and men, right? Like
That's right.
those went out the window real quick because I think the Lakers are realizing, like, all right, hey, LeBron and AD, they got to be on the floor 35 minutes a night if we're going to win. You know, they've improved their talent and their depth, but they need those two. Those are the two guys that make everything go. And you know, we've seen it. They try not to have the two of them sit together very often because those minutes just become a disaster for the Lakers when they're both off the floor. And then, you know, that lends to, all right, well, if we're going to start together and we're going to close together, that means we're going to have to play quite a bit of minutes just to make sure each of them can get their, 13, 15 minutes of rest or so. So my guess is, they're hopeful. Let's get everybody back. Let's get Jared Vanderbilt back. Let's get Rui Hachimura back and going again. Taurean Prince missed the other night, and then maybe we can start to back down on LeBron a little. But the Lakers also know they ran out of gas in the Western Conference Finals against the Nuggets, and they don't want to be in a position where, all right, we're in chase mode all season long, because then by the time you get there, you're going to have enough left to finish the job. They're we talked about it before with the Clippers. The Lakers certainly aren't raising a banner for going to the West Finals. For them, it's, title or bust. And to get there, you need LeBron and AD, at their best in April, May, and June.
Keith, how much do you buy the Golden State where the chemistry is great, we all love each other, and it's almost with a tinge of, from Draymond Green, is he had it coming when punching the teammate last year?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's a little bit of, all right, let's that be water under the bridge and let's all move on from it. But you kind of get it, right? Those questions are going to get asked, and they're going to get asked at various points in the course of the year. And I think, what they have now is better depth than they had, last season for sure. That obviously helps. Having a guy like Chris Paul, if Chris Paul is going to say, all right, I'll come off the bench, nobody can complain about what their role is on that team, right? Everybody has to buy in and say, hey, if he's doing that, man, if you need me to do this, all right, that's what I'll do. So that's really, really important there. But yeah, I think, one of the things is, the disease of more, right? Where you spend a long time together, you win a lot together. That team had won a title the year before, and then you had Jordan Poole, who he played a big role when Curry and Thompson were out. And then even when Curry got back and Thompson was still out, Jordan Poole was playing a big role. And then, he probably felt like, hey, I helped us win a title. I deserve more here. And the rest of the guys are like, hey, let's slow down a little bit, young fella. And he's probably saying, no, I'm headed in the prime years of my career. They gave me a big contract. And that can really, put things sideways for a team. So I'm very curious to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. But, Keith, enjoy your game tonight.
Glad you're on the road.
Yeah, that'll be a lot of fun tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Keith.
Keith Smith with us talking NBA from Spot Rack in the front office show and back out on the road, and I'm glad he's doing it. And he's got a good one tonight.
Yeah.
And this sad news from the Phoenix Suns family, one of their great players of all time and member of the 1976 Olympic team, Walter Davis, crossing that he has passed away. He's the first member of that 76 Olympic team to pass away. I fell in love with that team and those Olympics.
Yeah.
Summer of 1976, Brian. I was turning 14 that fall and was really into it. And Gene Bartow, that Gene Bartow was coach of the Puerto Rican team at those Olympics that the U.S. only beat by 1 point.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And they had Butch Lee on that team, on the Puerto Rican team, and that was a big win for the United States team, and largely led by Walter Davis, known affectionately in his college days at North Carolina as Sweet Pea, but passed away at 69 years of age. And I think there's a real case to be made that Walter Davis deserves to be in the Basketball Hall of Fame. I know next week on Monday night the Tigers get going, the Grizzlies get back in town, and we will enjoy those games. And the official jeweler for the Memphis Grizzlies and FedEx Forum with the Floor Seat Lounge, it's Sissy's Log Cabin, also strong supporters and official jeweler of Tigers Athletics. And they're also the sponsor of our look back at the weekend of the SEC that we bring you every Monday at 4:30. The new location, ready, set to open. 4542 Poplar, Bill Jones and his great team. They are here to stay and part of the fabric of the community. Some blow in and out overnight and then gone. Not Sissy's Log Cabin. They're here to stay with 9,000 square feet in Laurelwood, with expanded lines for Rolex, Cartier, diamonds, and more. The Mid-South's largest selection of one-of-a-kind jewelry, engagement rings, wedding bands. This time of year, we know there's a lot of need for all of that. Sissy, they offer a selection of diamonds, estate jewelry, and fine gifts since 1970, with 6 locations across Arkansas and Tennessee. And again, the official jeweler for the Grizzlies, the Tigers, and FedEx Forum with the floor seat lounge. Unsurpassed value, exceptional service, expansive selection, and an extraordinary shopping experience, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Well, let's go ahead and get to a break. And when we come back, we've got to talk about Thursday night football tonight. Titans versus Steelers. We'll also get to some other NFL news. We'll do that next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Wow, I feel good. Shopping at Drive Max. Drive Max! Drive Max! You get value!
Need a car that screams I feel good? Drive Max has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
Drive Max! I got approved! Uncorn flavor, Corky's barbecue.
Hi, Jimmy Stovall here with Corky's Barbecue. For 39 years, Corky's has been proud to serve our legendary slow-smoked barbecue in our dining room and drive-thru. Whether you're stopping by to pick up a barbecue sandwich, some Corky's award-winning catfish, or any other meal, you can add a third of a rack of ribs for only $7.99. You heard that right. Add a third of a rack of ribs to any order for only $7.99. You can place your order to go at Corky'sBBQ.com. That's Corky'sBBQ.com.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know: Binswanger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 145 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Binswanger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. Visit Binswanger Glass in Midtown at 340 South Hollywood, across from the Liberty Bowl. Visit binswingerglass.com. Binswanger Glass.
Memphis football is home Saturday, November 4th at 2 o'clock for homecoming against South Florida. Enjoy the pregame concert, mechanical bull riding, and Tiger tailgate on Tiger Lane before the game. Tickets start at just $20 as Memphis football continues to work toward a berth in the American Championship game. Be at Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium Saturday, November 4th at 2. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets, with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises. You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi.
Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
So you need to sell your house? I have the solution. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Any house, any area, as is. It's literally as simple as that. Just pick up your phone. Call 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Call my buddy Bill at I Buy Houses. Guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your house fast, call Bill at 901-406-1101. That's Bill at I Buy Houses.
Do you know one of the best things you can do for your employees or family's health? Provide Arctic Clear bottled water. Arctic Clear bottled water is your locally owned and operated bottled water provider. Arctic Clear is 100% natural spring water with free delivery and setup, dependable service, and no long-term contracts. What an easy choice. Call Jeff Manus today, 901-382-2363, or visit arctic-clear.com. Arctic Clear bottled water. Call now, 382-2363. That's 382-2363.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. Wrapping up the earlier car fire on 240 East right there onto I-40. It's pretty busy now on 40 eastbound from Sycamore View Road all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Starting to get a little bit crowded at times over here on 240 as you come past 385, either getting off there onto Bill Morris Parkway going outbound or continuing with all that volume on 240 East up by Poplar. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're back open. 7525 Highway 64. Go by and see them at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you in our Family Leisure Studios. And it's Thursday, so we got Thursday night football tonight. You can watch it, as always, on Prime Video, but we'll have that action right here on Sports 56 tonight, starting at 7 between the Titans and Steelers. While we're talking about that, let me run through what we've got this weekend here on Sports 56. Saturday, Ole Miss versus Texas A&M. That pregame with an 11 a.m. start. That pregame will start at 9 a.m. So we'll have Ole Miss football on the air at 9 a.m. on Saturday. Sunday, we've got a triple header of NFL. Commanders at Patriots at noon, Colts at Panthers at 3 p.m., and then Bills at Bengals at 7 p.m. On Monday, usually we have Monday night football, but Ole Miss basketball kicks off their season against Alabama State. So that pregame will start at 6:30 for the 7 p.m. tip. So no NFL Monday night. We will have Ole Miss basketball. But Brett, tonight, Titans and Steelers. What do you think about this matchup?
It's must-win for both teams.
Absolutely.
Or let me rephrase that. It's really, really important win time.
Yes.
For both teams. I don't know who I trust more or less at quarterback, Pickett or Levis.
Well, I'm sure you ask a Titans fan, and they're going to say Will Levis after that performance he had on
I
Sunday.
think a lot of that's the honeymoon effect.
Yes.
Let me see him do it on the road and do it again. And we're still waiting for Kenny Pickett. I don't think Kenny Pickett has great material around him. I don't think his offensive line is very good.
No.
And Najee Harris has been, it's approaching a bust.
Yeah, it's just been a rough season for the Steelers, and I don't want to say I had high hopes for them this year, but I think I had a little better hopes than what this season has been so far for them. Now they're still 4-3, and that division is usually very difficult.
Tightly compacted. 3 4-3 teams, 1 6-2 team right now.
Yeah. So I mean, everyone's right in there. I know a lot of people, in that area want Matt Canada out of there and kind of blame a lot of this on the OC. But I thought they would be a little better than this, especially offensively.
The Steelers want to get that win tonight and then root like heck for Seahawks over Ravens on Sunday, Cardinals over Browns on Sunday, and then the Bengals to lose on Sunday night to Buffalo. All that could happen, including
really
the Cardinals.
Yeah, no, really, really could. And so, that division, it's always a little different. There's always things that surprise
you. Man, it's a 16-15 division,
sure
isn't
it? It's different football up there. But, I don't know. I'm excited about this game tonight and really to see, like you said, what can Will Levis do not only in his second start for the Titans, but a road start in Pittsburgh is always tough.
It is, and for Pickett, the hometown pressure is going to fall on him. I thought it was really something a few weeks ago when Bo told us, Bo Marchand, almost as an aside, that the Rooney family always shied away from Pitt Panther players.
Yeah.
Because they didn't want kind of in the neighborhood and then, back and, it's a very, tough, tight-knit town, and didn't want make maybe that neighborhood mad because the Steelers have to cut him or he ends up being disappointing. Well, playing quarterback following Ben Roethlisberger, that's the spotlight on.
Yeah, that's
can't
not
hide
easy.
that.
No, you can't hide it. Your center of attention. It's not easy, and you've seen kind of the ups and downs. But Brett, how much of that is on him, and how much of that is on the poor offensive line?
Well, it starts there. And long time ago, we ruined offensive line play in the NFL with free agency like it is, and it's just hard. And we've also heard it with the limited contact in training camp and the fewer preseason games. I mean, it's hard for them to be rolling by this point in the year.
Yeah, no, you're right, and that's a good point. You made that point earlier in the year, and it's a really good one because we just don't have that contact early. The practices, you're not hitting in practices. These starters are not playing in preseason games, and so they're not getting those reps they need. And really, you look around the NFL, I know we talk about it a lot.
Kansas City.
It's hurting Kansas City, but Brett, you look around the NFL, it's hurting a lot of offensive lines in the NFL. I don't think there's a ton of really good offensive lines in the NFL.
I don't know of one steamroller that 5 across you go, man, I love that group.
Yeah, there's not, and it's really bad. You go to ESPN, you go to CBS Sports, you go to Fox, and you go to CBS before the games. You go, anywhere and hear people talk about these games, NFL Network, and I feel like I hear every single game. It's, this poor offensive line play, this poor offensive line play. It's all around the league, and it's really unavoidable.
Here's my number one group right now, and it's led by the other Kelsey.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Eagles.
Philadelphia has a good one.
And they've had some guys out.
Absolutely.
Lane Johnson.
Yeah, no, they definitely have. And that's a really good one. But the good offensive lines as a unit are really few and far between, I believe. I will say this. DeAndre Hopkins right now is questionable for tonight's game, but it has been reported he didn't practice yesterday with a toe injury, making him questionable, but he is expected to play tonight against the Steelers. We saw in that game on Sunday just how much Will Levis tried to get DeAndre Hopkins involved. So I think huge for the Titans to have him in that lineup tonight.
No champagne celebration tonight, but I think the Titans would be very happy getting on that charter late tonight in Pittsburgh 4-4.
Absolutely. I think so, especially if you have Will Levis in there and he is playing well. I think obviously if you win the game, he's playing well. And I think they'd be ecstatic to be able to be 2-0 with a rookie quarterback and getting a road win.
and a day or two off before next week at the Buccaneers. There's tougher portions of the NFL schedule than that.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it should be a fun game tonight. Brad, I want to get your thoughts on some of these other games this weekend, and really this one in Germany on Sunday morning, an early one. Dolphins and Chiefs. Chiefs coming off a loss that I don't think a lot of people expected. What do you think about this one in Germany Sunday morning?
I like the ESPN setup. I think it's on Mike Greenberg's show when he asked kind of the symbol table, something or nothing. You see when they do that?
Yeah.
So what was it? Was that something or nothing last week for the Chiefs?
I'm going to say nothing.
I'm going to say it was something.
Okay, all right.
But isn't this the time of the year, a lot of years, that we think there might be something with Kansas City, and then we're talking to Todd Lebo come January.
What is it? What is that like? What's it like in this playoff run?
Football pandemonium.
Another Super Bowl appearance. Yeah. No, I mean you're right, but it wasn't a good game. Nobody really performed well for them. But we know.
Great point. And when you have that day when everything's wrong, it's almost like at draft time.
Yes.
It might be an easier draft go. We need everything.
We just need the best player on the board. We're not looking for a fit. Just give me someone with talent.
Bottom.
Yes,
we need everything.
We just need talent. So we know Patrick Mahomes was not 100%. In that game. We know it was a snow game of sorts, so a little different for Kansas City.
He was aggravated on the sideline at that offensive line.
He was, and kind of going back to that offensive line, so it'll be interesting to see what they can do. Can they bounce back against...
And Tyreek Hill's revenge.
Yeah, exactly. Tyreek Hill in this offense for Miami.
Serve bratwurst style in Germany.
That's right. I don't know. It'll be fun. Early morning, though, an early wake-up call. Some more news coming out earlier today. Darren Waller is going to be out this weekend for the Giants. Their big tight end pickup in the offseason. He's going to be out this week against his former team, the Raiders. We know everything that's happened with the Raiders. I haven't looked today, but as of yesterday, Raiders were still a favorite against the Giants for this weekend. I doubt that has changed, especially with this Darren Waller news. I'm pretty sure they're still probably favorites.
Probably so, and talking about a lot of new for his old team this week.
Yeah, a lot of new, a lot of changes there. Last thing I want to get to with you, Brett, before we get to a break, it's official. The Falcons are going to start Taylor Heineke this weekend at quarterback.
And I think that's surrender on Desmond Ritter.
Yeah, it seems like, and they even
we tried.
We
got
tried.
a shot, and Arthur Smith's great, and it's for him. I think that's the sign we're either signing or trying to draft another quarterback.
We're going to do something. It just seems like it. I never thought.
We know how far you go with Taylor Heineke, don't we?
Well, yeah. I don't think you can go very far. And I didn't think.
We know how far. Kind of a plucky playoff performance that falls a little bit shy and you're disappointed. And if only we had a real quarterback.
Exactly. And so I didn't think you were getting much out of Desmond Ritter either. And I thought it was.
I did. I missed on Ritter.
Yeah, I just was never sold on him. But they did.
I was big on Ritter. I was big on Pickett.
Yeah, well, I was big on Pickett too. I did like Pickett coming out of Pitt. But I did think it was interesting. I saw somebody else point this out earlier today, and maybe an ESPN article about Taylor Heineke starting. That Arthur Smith made a point when talking to the media about Taylor Heineke starting that Desmond Ritter was 100% healthy. That this had nothing to do with an injury or anything.
He was demoted.
He was just demoted, and they were going to move to Taylor Heineke. So
I know we're close to time on the break, and today the Big Ten released schedule for next year. And by schedule, I mean for dates. That is what a schedule is.
That's right.
What the ACC did the other day, they released opponents.
Yes.
That's what the SEC did last year. We've got to win the language war. We've got to win it back. In football, there's no such thing as a bye. I don't care how many people are saying
That's
it.
right.
It's not. That is a bracket term. I mean, when Ole Miss was off, what did Ole Miss buy into?
Nothing.
They had an open date.
Yes.
And in the scheduling world, like when you get dates, that means a schedule, something you can plan for. When you get just who the opponents are later, that's opponents. That's not a schedule.
Yes. I was shocked. You told me earlier I had missed the Big Ten drop, and you told me earlier, hey, did you see the Big Ten drop their conference schedule for next year? I said, no.
And of course I said
no
drop.
Idea. Oh, yeah. Well, because we're hip, Brett. We're dropping everything.
One thing in that drop I was surprised by, on that first weekend in next year in college football, week 1, the first full weekend that everybody will be going will be Saturday, August 31st. Mm-hmm. The weekend before is week 0, and there are games scheduled for Saturday, August 24th. It'll make the football countdown even shorter. Man. I'm hoping now that schedule release sure can be altered, sure can be changed. Sure. I'm hoping the Big Ten moves something either to week 0 or even amends to first weekend and comes out a little splashier than that.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be a lot of fun. But I guess we'll have to see. I did see this. People are not making fun, but they are enjoying UCLA's 2024 schedule. Have you seen their UCLA's entire 2024 schedule?
Yes.
It is insane. They start the season, like you said, earlier this week, start time with, the way the weeks are set up next year. Week 1 will be that August 31st at Hawaii. Then they have an off week. Then they play Indiana at home, at LSU, home against Oregon, at Penn State, home against Minnesota, at Rutgers, another off week, at Nebraska, home against Iowa, at Washington, home against USC, and home against Fresno. Brett, that's a lot of miles.
It may not kill the football team, but it would kill the 60-year-old radio crew.
That's a great point. But, nobody ever brings up the radio guys.
No,
they don't bring that radio team.
Yeah, they shouldn't.
They don't bring up you guys. Yeah, no, that's a brutal schedule. I mean, talk about a lot of miles. But, it will be fun. It'll be interesting. When I first pulled it up and saw Oregon and Michigan traveling to USC or whatever it might be, I was a little shocked. It's still taking me a minute to process all of these new teams in the Big Ten, but it will be fun, and it's fun to get some dates in front of us, some opponents in front of us. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
How long has it been since you heard the term being overstocked? Well, it's happened at Family Leisure. Yep. That means you get the savings, like select patio sets that are up to 50% off. If you need a play gym, you're in luck because they're also overstocked and start at under $2,000. Pool tables and game room items up to $700 off of in-stock items. Saunas, massage chairs, arcades, even theater seating. Special financing is available with free delivery. Family Leisure is extending sale pricing on all in-stock hot tubs and swim spas. And if you need supplies to close up your pool for the winter, Family Leisure has them up to 30% off. It's been a while since you've heard of an overstock sale, but Family Leisure is right in the middle of one. Huge deals and a huge overstocked inventory. That means great savings for you. It's happening now at Family Leisure, Whitten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together.
What's holding you back from learning the language you've always wanted to know?
Too hard. Takes too long.
Not with Babbel. Babbel's lessons take just 15 minutes a day.
15 minutes isn't long.
Nope. And they're fun. So you don't realize you're learning a language, but you are. In 3 weeks, you're able to start having conversations. And Babbel's lessons are built around real life.
And with Babbel, it isn't hard. It's perfect.
Now try Babbel free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
QVC is throwing the biggest holiday party of the year, and you're invited. Our non-stop holiday party is coming to you live For 49 straight hours of holiday shopping, tips and tricks to own the season, nonstop fun, and so much more. We'll be joined by our favorite celebs and guests, but it won't be a party without you. Join us for our nonstop holiday party, November 4th and 5th, everywhere you watch QVC. This is shopping brought to life.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Hey, if you're hungry for great Mexican food for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, got it. La Guadalupana. Guadalupana, Guadalupana. Choose from tacos, burritos, enchiladas, sizzling shrimp, beef, or chicken fajitas, and even a Cuban sandwich filled with Mexican sauces, chicken, ham, steak, jalapenos, avocado, and more. How about super nachos topped with melted cheese, beans, sour cream, guacamole, tomato, and jalapenos? All great with nice cold beer, domestic and imported. Good prices, generous portions, great service at 2 locations, Summer Avenue and Cordova Road. La Guadalupana.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, Brett, my big number today is 9. Evan Carter for the Texas Rangers set an MLB record with 9 doubles in a postseason. And this story for Evan Carter, we've talked about him a little bit throughout the season, throughout the postseason, but it's really an incredible story. Evan Carter was in Double-A on August 28th this season. And then this playoffs, he's, like I said, set an MLB record for 9 doubles in a postseason. He also got on base in all 17 games during the playoff run. And now he is a World Series champion at only 21 years of age.
I was going to say it. Boy, he looks young. Well, guess
is.
what? He is
very
at 21. Help me. Where are the Rangers? Where's the Double-A team for the Rangers?
Oh, my goodness, Brett. I know it, but I
Round
can't
Rock?
tell you. It is in Round Rock. That's correct, yes. I knew it was somewhere in Texas.
Yeah, and he looked every day of 21. I'm going to go with baseball. I'm going to go with 11.45 million. That was the viewers last night on Fox. You're going to see big screaming headlines.
Oh, yeah.
And it is lowest rated and least watched World Series on record. It is. There's no way baseball, never mind 70s when we had 3 channels, ABC, NBC, and CBS, or 80s or 90s. Baseball's not going to get to where it was around 09 with Yankees and Phillies. They're just not. But I wish somewhere in those stories of just disemboweling baseball, like so many like to do, that 11.45 blows away anything else on TV except for the NFL, including college football. And I love all these rating sites, these rate where you can find all the ratings information. They will just go crazy over 3.5 million on a Tuesday night for LeBron, or come June when the NBA Finals might be around 8 or 9 or 10 million.
Yeah, no, you're right, but I've already seen them. You're already starting to see them come out, and I'm sure after we get the final numbers and everything, and everyone has had some time to really see the numbers of for the entire World Series, you're going to see more headlines, and you're going to see more people talking about it. But you're right. I mean, yeah, you can boil those numbers down if you want to, but those numbers are still pretty good.
They were pretty good, and baseball, I thought, had a great postseason, and the Rangers proved emphatically this. They were baseball's best team in October.
They were. Absolutely. What they did on the road was incredible.
I don't know if they were. I do know they were not the best team from April 1 to October 1. That was the Atlanta Braves.
Yeah. easily. And I mean, you know, we go back and look at the end of the regular season in that AL West, and you had the Rangers, and it looked like for a time they were atop of the AL West, and then they went on that really long slump where they just couldn't buy a win. And we were going, you know, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they were really struggling, you know, winning 2 of their last 10, stuff like that, and they just couldn't buy a win. While at the time, Houston and Seattle were starting to take charge, and then they kind of started cannibalizing each other, and then Texas gets back to the top, and it looks like they might win the division, and then it gets flipped again, and Houston wins the division, but Texas being able to go through the wild card and win and play very consistent. I talked about it earlier about the lack of errors for them, and 7 straight games without an error is incredible. They played clean baseball. The bats came up big, and they were getting it from everybody. We talk about Corey Seager, who has joined a club of the elite players, but we're also talking about Evan Carter, who hit 9 doubles in a game and is 21 years old. So they were getting it from everybody in their lineup.
And doing it in the last 2 games without their best player.
That's right. Yeah, without Adolis Garcia. So, I mean, everyone stepped up for the Rangers, and they needed everybody to step up. So it was a lot of fun to watch. I said it earlier in this World Series, maybe before it started, this isn't the Dodgers or the Mets or the Yankees.
Or the Red Sox.
Or the Red Sox or the Cardinals, teams that, are kind of known as the top dogs in the sport, but that was a fun Rangers team to watch. That was a fun D-backs team to watch. It was a fun postseason. So I don't want to take anything away from them.
I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I love the new member of the 21st Century Club. Again, 16. That's out of 30.
That's
16
incredible.
out of 30. So it's in the 21st century, and we will not have another designated winner for the rest of this calendar year. College football will tack it on right after we start the new calendar year. So it's Major League Baseball with 16, then tied for second, the NFL and college basketball with 13.
Wow.
And then college football with 12 and the NBA with 11. College football has got a real chance to add one to get to 13. If they do, and then come springtime, college basketball doesn't, say Kansas wins it again, or UConn repeats, or Kentucky, I can tell you now I will be insufferable to the basketball heads that tell me how even basketball is, and everybody's got a chance.
That's right.
In college football, that stodgy, what's their word? The cartel. The cartel.
Yes.
The same ones always win it in college football, and then I'll go, excuse me, the same number have won it in the 21st century from both sports. Excuse me. And they can't stand the facts.
That's right. No, you're right. You always hear that of the way football is set up with only 4 teams being able to go, and it's only the power teams and everything, but it's so wide open. Brett, you could have
it's just one different now.
That's right. But Brett, in college basketball, I mean, you saw what St. Peter's did a couple years ago. They could have won it.
I blinked and I missed them the next weekend.
But they had a shot, Brett. Don't forget it. And people forget they had a shot. Just
they love to mention that first weekend.
That's right.
Tell me how it fit, because there's never been that team go on and win it all, unless you want to count Villanova. That's won it all time 3 times.
Yeah, I don't want to count Villanova in there.
Does anybody really want to make Villanova the plucky underdog?
No. I hold Villanova in very high regard when it comes to basketball. I do not want to have them as a plucky underdog. I
love the cartel talk.
Oh yeah, it's great.
You got to help me. We got a generational divide. Are you ready?
Okay, please.
Tell me who Nate Bargatze is. Nate Bargatze. He's going to be guest picker on game day in Tuscaloosa Saturday. I got a pretty good handle on all things Tuscaloosa. I don't know who Nate Bargatze is.
He is a comedian.
Is he funny? That's the first requirement to being a comedian.
I'm going to say maybe.
Okay.
I don't know anything about him. He's from Nashville.
Okay.
I can tell you that. But that's about all I got on it.
We're on equal standing today.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock on a Thursday, Nate's never heard of me, and I had never heard of him.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't even. Wait, so where? So game day's in Alabama this year or this weekend?
Game day is at Tuscaloosa for LSU at Bama.
Okay, I don't even see a. I don't
Nate
know the connection.
Bargatze.
Huh? I don't know. Huh?
If I'm pronouncing it correctly, if I'm not, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I think your guess is as good as mine. But I know he's from Nashville, Tennessee. That's pretty much all I got on him, Brett.
Knock him dead, Nate.
Sorry. Yeah, please, Nate, go out there and make some good picks, I guess. But we need to get to a break because when we come back, we've got to talk Memphis football and Memphis basketball. But before we do that, I know people are looking for a night out, a spot to watch the game, and I've got just the spot for you. It's Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley, right behind 117 Prime. Open from 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday and 4 to 8 on Sundays. I know nobody likes a loud bar where you can't hear yourself think, much less talk, but that's the opposite of Bell Tavern. Start your night with a gourmet burger and one of their great cocktails in a quiet, dimly lit bar that you can enjoy a game at, make some friends, or enjoy a night out with the friends you have. And it's not just the burgers. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis and the coldest beer in the city. 117 Prime. Just walk through that dining room and you're at the best bar in town. For more information about our friends at Bell Tavern, call 901-249-6580. That's 901-249-6580, or go online to belltavern.com. Let's go ahead and get to that break. When we come back, we're going to talk some Tiger football. We're going to talk some Tiger basketball with Greg Gaston.
Roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings & Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings & Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings & Grill.
Hey sports fans, this is former professional referee Tim Donaghy. You've seen my feature film Inside Game and my docuseries Operation Flagrant Foul on Netflix. Tonight is confirmed San Antonio Phoenix is huge, and I love this matchup. Free on the recorded message line, call 1-800-847-7889. Plus Detroit, New Orleans, and Orlando, Utah. I love to go 3-0, free on the recorded message. Call 1-800-847-7889. No hype, just winning information. San Antonio Phoenix is a monster. Call 1-800-847-7889. It starts right now, free on the recorded message line. Call me, Tim Donaghy, 800-847-7889. I love to sweep the board where the season's free. Call 1-800-847-7889 or go to TimDonaghySports.com.
Sponsored by JFSR Group.
Moving is stressful, but Black Tie Moving can take the worry out of the process. Whether you're moving across town or across country, moving your home or your office, your personal moving concierge from Black Tie Moving will work with you to design a plan that perfectly fits your budget and needs. And they're available 24/7 to answer any questions you have. Give Black Tie Moving a call at 901 316-6196 or go to blacktiemoving.com/Memphis to get your personal, no-obligation quote from the moving experts at Black Tie Moving.
At Sissy's Log Cabin, you'll find only spectacular natural diamonds that will remain treasured for generations. That promise is now symbolized by the engraved Sissy signature and sapphire, representing our guarantee of extraordinary service, selection, experience, and quality. Stop by any of our stores or visit sissyslogcabin.com and experience the Sissy's promise for yourself. Find a jeweler for a lifetime, only at Sissy's Log Cabin, because life's too short for ordinary jewelry.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. It's building pretty good now on 240 East from Mill Branch all the way out to 385 Bill Morris Parkway. It's crowded, no surprise. On 240 East here at Poplar, working your way up to Walnut Grove. Traffic's on the increase down through Midtown as we stare at it live on 240 southbound as you head past Norris. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, they're back open better than ever. Go by and see David and the family at Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah. From the Tigers sideline, it's Tigers Talk with Memphis broadcasting legend Greg Gaston. Hear Greg weekday mornings on Sports 56 Mornings, along with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. On Twitter X at Greg_Gaston. Here's Greg with Bryant and Brett.
Greg Gaston joining us now to talk some Tigers. You can hear Greg every single morning on Sports 56 Mornings with Greg and Eli. And starting Monday, you'll be able to hear him call the Tiger basketball game versus Jackson State on ESPN+. He's also on the Tigers sidelines. Greg, thanks so much for joining us. I want to start off with the football team before we get to the basketball team. What did you make of that win over the weekend against North Texas? A lot has been made this week about that game, about the job Ryan Silverfield has done. What did you think of that with the second half comeback by North Texas?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Fun time of the year, right, with basketball now starting up along with football. But, yeah, last week was one of those you get out of Dodge as quick as you can after the clocks struck zero and the Tigers had won that game with that great 1-minute drive by Seth Hennigan. But it was, it was one you don't want to look back at. Maybe burn the tape. That second half collapse was not one that was going to sit too well with anybody, especially the coaches and the players themselves, but the fan base certainly. And that drive pulled them out of the fire. So, again, it was a disastrous second half, but I should say near disaster, because obviously the bottom line is the bottom line, and that's wins and losses. They were able to escape with that win.
It is, Greg. That is the bottom line. And to people that are calling, even if that had ended up being a loss, even if Saturday's a loss, people calling for a coaching change, I just don't think that is in the realistic world. And they get really mad at us when we talk about that realistic world and want to say that we're all buddies with the coach. Let me again say it again. And I wish it was different. I have never met Ryan Silverfield. I do not know him at all. I have never made a dime directly working for the University of Memphis or the athletics department. I'm not defending him because I am a buddy of his. I've even had that this week, that I'm a buddy of his. I doubt seriously he knows I'm alive. I'm defending 6-2 and a pretty good football team.
And you have the right to do so. And your opinion is very important. That's why people tune in and listen to that. Now, I'm on the flip side. I know Ryan incredibly well. I do get paid by the Tigers to do football, to work the sidelines. Different from my basketball games. A little bit different in baseball, depending on whether I'm doing ESPN Plus or live stream. You know, there's different revenues for all of us. And, yes, I do get a paycheck from the university through Learfield. However, I speak the truth, or at least I try to, when I give my opinion on my show, 7 to 10, Monday through Friday. And people could take it for what it's worth. If they think it's worth nothing, then that's fine. If they think that I have a good sense of reality, then that's fine as well. Look, I understand what the narrative was going to be on Monday if they had lost that game, and really understandably so, how irate fans would have been in calling for his head. The issue is that people want style points as well. They want to win 45-0. They don't want to have a second half collapse. They want to have a quick start to begin the game. So does Ryan Silverfield. So does that team. So does every team that competes. They want near perfect games or perfect games if it's even attainable. I just look at I am a bottom line guy. Wins, losses, wins,
Me
losses,
too.
wins, losses. Right? They're 6-2. They're bowl eligible for a 10th straight year. People are going to argue, well, who have they beaten? You can only play the teams in front of you. I know there's a huge game coming up in a couple of weeks, and they have to take care of business starting this Saturday against South Florida to make that game extremely important. But for last week, look, you have the right, when we open up the phone lines or your text, to voice your opinion. If you think that wasn't good enough, that's fine. I think a win is good enough. I don't care what happened. If it was a complete collapse and they had lost that game, again, it would have been a lot different, and we'd be talking a little bit differently as well, even from people I know and respect and like Ryan Silverfield.
Well said, Greg. And I really believe, and this has kind of been more of a end of the week thing like to now than it was at the beginning of the week. I do think it's never one thing. And I don't think if you had the pie chart of explanation, I don't think Ryan Silverfield is personally disliked. He sure can't be detested. The man has done nothing to be detested. Come on, I know detestable people in sports, and Ryan Silverfield has not done anything to merit that. I think the biggest chunk of the pie chart, the biggest slice, Greg, I think the undercurrent of conference realignment has people this sore, this irate.
Yeah, that's a great point. And I don't believe by any stretch of the imagination it's personal as well because people really don't know the guy. And I can tell you he's a terrific guy. He's a terrific human being. I mean, I missed last week's segment on Thursdays when we have Coach on because I was sick. And he's texting me to find out how I'm feeling, if I'm doing all right. That's the type of stuff that you really appreciate from people. And there are, like you said, people in the sports business that wouldn't do that. They wouldn't care, or they couldn't care less.
I text you, Jack, don't you?
You do. You always do. But here, let me add to what you said because I completely, I agree with that completely. Here, two things. Number one is he follows Mike Norvell, and people got a taste of what it could be. Not I think annually, but they got a taste of what it can be for Memphis as they went to a Cotton Bowl, and now Mike Norvell has his team on the precipice of making the 14 playoff. That was the guy you had. Mike Norvell's only come around once in a while. He's a special coach. Doesn't mean Ryan isn't a terrific coach as well, but Mike Norvell was kind of the exception to the rule. And then you throw in, what you said, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. So people are now looking at everything that they've already made up their mind about Ryan. So they're waiting for the walls to collapse.
They sure have.
And they're going to nitpick. Even when they win, they're going to nitpick and say, okay, it was a win, but look at what you did in the second half. Or it was
Wait
a win,
till Monday if they lose to South Florida, Greg. It's going to be unmerciful on me and Bryant and you and Dave and Eli. Any defender, it's going to be unmerciful.
Oh, Brent, there's no question about it. But we were talking about that on Saturday. I'm on the sideline watching that. I'm watching North Texas rally. I'm watching them grab a lead. I'm sure people are watching on television or those that were at the game. I'm right there on the sideline next to that team watching those guys. And what I did not see was despair. They were angry, but they weren't, we lost the game. Ryan gathered the troops. They got them together. They said, here's what we got to do. I mean, I'm not privy to the play calling and the information or anything that was said on the headsets, but they still thought they can go out there and win a game. And in a final minute drive in front of friends and family, Hennigan leads them down the field. Yeah. And then the much maligned Joe States, who dropped a touchdown pass, or what would have been a touchdown earlier in the game, makes a great catch between two defenders, and they win the game. People don't want to talk about the drops that were made in that game. It should have never came down to that last drive if Blankenship makes the catch on a 4th and 6. Now, you can go back and forth whether or not you thought that he should have went for it on 4th and 6, but the defense wasn't stopping anybody in the second half. He tried to put the game on ice, would have been on ice if the receiver had caught the ball. Now, Blackesy did some other good things, so don't get me wrong, I'm not piling on him. But there was one right between the numbers. That's the game. The game is over. Memphis runs out the clock. It didn't happen that way. They had to pull this rabbit out of their hat on that final drive. That's exactly what they did. But people who have already made up their mind are going to find every little thing to dump on the coach. And, of course, like you said, if, God forbid, they lose this game or lose to Charlotte before that SMU game, it is going to be Katie bar the door on talk radio.
And Greg, I'm not a large family. There's not a lot of us. It's growing with my nephews making up for a lot of work with their children. But I think I've got more friends and family than we're at North Texas.
It was unbelievable, the small crowd that there was. Now, there was threats of bad weather all day. There was bad weather in the morning all the way up to kickoff, and then it basically stopped.
They didn't have enough to tear the goalpost down.
No, they didn't. But I'm not sure if that altered the plans or not. Here's the thing, though.
I don't know if they had enough to dump the Gatorade over the coach's head.
You're bad, man. I don't want to go down this rabbit hole again, but the last couple of weeks being on the road, seeing that stadium in Birmingham, small crowd, seeing that stadium in Denton, small crowd. And, of course, some of the people that were down there that were fans of the team, still the narrative was, of course, all together now on campus.
That's right.
Stadium.
That's
right. All the talk was. Every time I go to these places now that have on-campus stadiums, I keep hearing about that. But it is what it is.
Greg, what do you expect this Saturday? A home game for the Tigers against USF. But this USF team has kind of been up and down this season. There's been some games where they go out and they get blown out by 20 points. There's other games where they go out and they'll beat an opponent by 20 points or so, and that offense looks like it could be figuring something out. What do you expect to see from USF this weekend?
Okay, well, let me say this. If the Tigers play clean, which they have played clean the last couple of games, the Tigers will win this football game.
Yeah.
But I think you're going to get another shootout. I think USF is going to be able to score on that Tigers defense, which at times has looked good, and at times it has looked poor. And this is a team that is I'm telling you, a fast-paced offense. Do not blink. They get off about 82, 83 plays at the third fastest as far as tempo is concerned. Alex Golish is their coach. He comes over from Tennessee. They're coaching the offense under Josh Heupel. So that's exactly what you're going to see, a team that's very capable. Memphis will have to be on the top of their game to force a turnover or two to derail that team. But if you can cause that, then you're going to end up winning and winning convincingly. We've seen that by some of the results of the games that they played. Of course, the anomaly is that game against Alabama in the bad weather when you just scratch your head and go, how is that even possible? I know they didn't do much offense.
And they looked the part that day. Their defensive guys looked like they belonged in that game.
They were certainly hyped up for that game, and they played it. And I've been told by the coaches, we had our coaches meeting today, that they look the part when they get off the bus. So it's not going to be like North Texas last week, when, to me, it was one of the smallest defenses I've ever seen, like up close and personal. I go, wow, that's a small defense. They had a big nose tackle, and everybody else was really, really diminutive. This team will look the part. They're big. They've done a pretty good job here lately now with NIL, with Golish. And I have always thought it's a sleeping giant, but it's been sleeping too damn long. Probably the fan stake down there in Tampa. But certainly in Florida, the money now that's rolling in, they should be able to put that program into a higher tier in the conference. I just don't understand why it hasn't been there. But it's a capable team. You turn it over a couple of times, they'll take advantage of it. So I expect, again, high-scoring game. But Memphis, look, they're a 13.5 point favorite for a reason. The guys in the desert, they usually know what they're talking about. I don't think, though, Memphis will cover that line. Again, unless there's some turnovers they force, and then they'll run away with it. But I think it's still going to be a 10 to 13 point win by Memphis. Again, I'm pretty confident in Memphis outscoring USF this weekend.
What have you heard on the injury front for Rock Taylor and Jonah Gamble?
Jonah Gamble will more than likely not play, but he is getting better. It's not a season-ending injury. Rock Taylor is a go. Good. Cameron Smith's a go. Some of the guys that were banged up in the game against North Texas are going to play.
Has Seth Hennigan become the Joe Jackson of Tigers football?
The Joe Jackson of Tigers football.
King of Memphis.
No, I don't. Joe
good,
Jackson being
appreciated,
from
record setter, but not many are going to think of him in the super elite.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's where there's the difference.
Okay.
Is Joe Jackson was expected to be the second coming. He was the Memphis kid. All the talk was about Joe, and Joe ended up having, like you said, I think you were trying to make that point that he put up some pretty darn good numbers. But
you
they
go through that
expected
record book. Joe Jackson is there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Joe Jackson was here and he put up numbers, but they expected Joe Jackson to be a 4-year All-American. With Seth Hennigan, he didn't hail from Memphis. I don't even know if people knew who he was when he got here, but I think he is, to your point, an underappreciated quarterback, and I think a lot of that comes from the order that he's going in. I mean, when you're following Brady White, when you're following the numbers that Riley Ferguson put up, when you're following Paxton Lynch, it's easy to forget about the numbers that Seth Hennigan's starting to accrue, starting to put together, and he's leaving his mark certainly on Memphis football. The question will be, is he going to be here next year, or is somebody going to dangle big money towards him as far as an NIL deal somewhere else? That's something that don't worry about after the season, but hopefully Seth Hennigan, who loves it here in Memphis, loves everything about it, will stay for another year. He's not ready by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know if he will be ready ever to be an NFL quarterback. He might get an opportunity, but I don't see him leaving. I see him staying for another year, but whether it's at Memphis or somewhere else, that's to be determined. But I think he's a bit underappreciated for what he has done and how consistent. Plus, he was thrown right into the fire like Joe Jackson as a freshman.
Our guest is Greg Gaston. He's on the Tiger sidelines, and he's with us every Thursday. And it's brought to you by Jim's Place in Collierville, the law offices of Stephen Leffler, Mount Moriah Auto Sales, and Neil's Bar and Grill.
Greg, we haven't talked to you since the Tiger basketball team had their first exhibition game against Lane College. They'll have their second tonight against Lemoyne-Owen, and next time we talk to you, they'll have one real game in the books. What did you make of that first exhibition for the Tigers, and what do you want to see tonight against Lemoyne-Owen?
Looked really, really good. Javon Quinterly did not play. I believe he's going to go tonight, so obviously I'm looking forward to seeing him run the show at point. They slid Caleb Mills over for the most part as the point guard against Lane, and then they brought in Jalen Young from UCF, who will be a backup point guard. I thought they did a lot of positive things. They shot the three ball well. They got to the hole. They played good defense. The only thing, and again, maybe I'm nitpicking here, the only thing I saw that bothered me a bit was Lane, which was massively undersized, went in there and banged and got a bunch of offensive rebounds. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but something like 11 rebounds, offensive rebounds. Double-digit offensive rebounds against that Memphis massive front should never happen. You know, that a lot of that is effort, and I thought Andre Turner's team really had a game as far as the effort is. Of course, they got crushed on the final score, but the effort was there. You could tell they're well coached.
13 offensive rebounds.
Yeah, 13 offensive rebounds is a lot of offensive rebounds for a team that's very, very small. But to see what Memphis can do in the paint with Jordan Brown, even Malco came in and looked good. To see what they could do outside shooting, led by David Jones and Ashton Hardaway, who's got that size and that nice three-point stroke, and then the ability to get to the hole, which certainly they got two or three guys, including Quinterly, who we didn't get to see against Lane. I love the different options that they have. Penny has a lot of options on the floor at any time. So, yeah, I thought that was for it being an exhibition game, and you take it with a grain of salt, I thought it was a pretty impressive showing.
Greg, we're going to do it next Wednesday. We know the Tigers play on Monday, but everybody's kind of giving that one as a W for the Tigers over Jackson State. We're going to go through the rest of the schedule next Wednesday at 3:30. Do you and Eli, do y'all go game by game on college basketball like we do all the college football? I know nobody does it for Grizzlies because it would put everybody to sleep.
It would take a couple of days. No, we do not. We usually give kind of just an overview of how we think they're going to do. But, yeah.
Where's your ballpark on wins and losses out of the 31 games?
I still haven't looked at that, Brett, to be honest with you. I will do that to make sure I have something for our next meeting next Thursday when we get together. and give you kind
You
of
don't have to. No homework
composite.
required, Greg. You know that.
Oh, I know. I don't mind doing a little homework, but yeah, I want to look at it, kind of break it down a bit. But all I know is this, and we've talked about it before, how extremely important it is to get going early. They're playing one of the toughest non-conference schedules they've ever put together. So to get going will only help them more when it comes to postseason play and seeding. This is the toughest part of their schedule. The conference is not. They and Florida Atlantic should be battling those two teams, and everybody else is just there for the ride. I'm not saying that you're only going to possibly lose to Florida Atlantic and beat everybody's brains out, but it's certainly possible.
15-3 is doable.
Yes, there's no question. I'm trying not to put down the conference, but really it is a top-heavy conference of two teams, and then everybody else is there. So how you make up for your strength of schedule, RPI, and all that stuff is what you do in the non-conference portion of your schedule. They play a tough schedule. They have to be successful. They have to go down and win in the Caribbean. I mean, win the tournament. It would be great. It would go a long way in helping Memphis be a 4 seed or a 5 seed as opposed to being an 8 or a 9 seed. That's what you want to do, and you got to take care of business early. That means you have to gel early. And that trip, I think, that the DR certainly helped. These guys have been together for the most part a long time, going back into early, for some of them, the early portions of the summer. For some of them, a little bit later on in the summer. But they have been together now for a while, and we saw that chemistry certainly displayed in the game against Lane.
I'm calling the first game against Jackson State a gimme W, and I'm calling the last non-conference game against Austin Peay on December 30th a gimme W. In between, it's 11 big games. There's one or two in there that's I think gimme. Alabama State I think should be, but the rest of them are really competitive. Not just against the SEC, but the Tiger basketball fans, a road win at VCU, a road win at Texas A&M, that is SEC. Tigers' seed will be set after they play Vandy on December 23rd.
Yeah, you got Clemson, you got Virginia, of course, Ole Miss. Chris Beard, by the way, will be on our show tomorrow morning at 8:30. Shameless plug. Check out Chris Beard on Sports 56 Mornings. Mm-hmm. But here you go. There's Penny has put together that schedule and would like to even have a harder schedule if he could. And that's hard enough. But he would, if he could get Kentucky and he could
Arkansas,
get Duke, and he could get Arkansas and Villanova,
Tennessee,
he will try to get them. Yes, he has. Mm-hmm. He has tried to get Tennessee. He has tried to get Arkansas. He has reached out to others. He wants to play as hard.
I think they still have. I think they've got caller ID at Tennessee, and they don't take the call.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that one ain't happening. But there's other ones that I think absolutely can happen because he knows, as everybody else does. Let's just face it. Mike Oresco, you put some earplugs in your ears, and I love you, buddy, but this is a especially bad basketball conference, with the exception of two. And who knows if Florida Atlantic will have sustaining power for years, like we know Memphis will. So that's what you have. So you have to take advantage of it by playing that really tough schedule. But that means you have to win the bulk of those games, because if you don't, you're talking 8, 9, 10 seed.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's gonna start with what we think is a gimme on Monday, but then that big game Friday night without Penny Hardaway on the sidelines against Missouri. So they're gonna have to start off fast. But Greg, thanks so much for joining us. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, and guys, just because you think it's a gimme, make sure you tune in on Monday.
Absolutely.
We'll be on the broadcast, myself and John. Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
Greg. You got it, Greg. Greg Gaston from the Tiger sideline. And you can listen tomorrow morning with Eli Savoy from 7 to 10. And I know they got John Varlas. I know they have Brandon Lang and got Chris Beard tomorrow morning at 8:30 on these airwaves. Really, really great lineup. Great show, great fellas. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Hewlett and Dunn, Boot and Jean on the historic square in Collierville. They've been there since 1961. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, they own the place in the square in Collierville. It looks like something out of Currier and Ives. You want to get in the Christmas spirit? right now on November 2nd, you can by going to the historic Collierville Square. It looks great there. It looks great inside and feels great and smells great inside Hewlett Dunn with all that leather, all that Western wear, work boots, safety toe or soft toe, rubber boots. They've got it for every occasion at Hewlett and Dunn. From head to toe, they've got you covered with every brand imaginable. Anderson Bean, Dan Post, Ariat, whether it's for men or women or for children, they've got it. Men's and women's clothing, jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, jackets, and the best duckhead collection you'll find. You need that perfect jacket gift for the holidays? That's your stop right there at 111 North Center Street. Stop by, visit with Charles, visit with Laura, say hello, or go to HewlettDunn.com. But better yet, get to the square in Collierville. Sunglasses, boot care products, hats, every area team snapback. They've reordered all the cool hats you can think of for Grizzlies, Tigers, State, Tennessee, Ole Miss, the Razorbacks, and the travel bag selection top notch for travel season around the holidays. HewlettDunn.com. But please stop by and visit and say hello at 111 North Center Street on the historic square in Collierville. It looks perfect there, and it feels perfect at Hewlett and Dunn.
Well, we're late for a break, but when we come back, we're going to get to what's trending.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination, has 27 delicious flavors to choose from and counting. Like the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick. Mango Habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Or sweet maple bourbon, the taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. And that's just 3 of the amazing 27 chicken wing seasonings that you can get at the Crazy Coop in Bartlett at 7199 Stage Road. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Some like it hot. How about the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or Crazy Suicide? Can't take the heat? Get the 4-cheese roasted garlic or barbecue bacon bourbon. Ask about the $9.99 lunch special. Now those are some crazy good prices. The Crazy Coop, 2 locations, 7199 Highway 64 between Appleton and Kirby Whitten and 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Family owned and operated, The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination.
If you haven't experienced Genesis Diamonds yet, your moment has arrived. Next weekend, November 10th through 12th, Genesis is putting everything on sale. Save 20, 30, even 35%. Rings, earrings, bands, bracelets, engagement rings. World-class designers will be here too, showcasing fashion jewelry never seen here before. All on sale. Luxury pre-owned Rolex watches and all lab-grown diamonds are also included. Don't miss this spectacular store-wide sale. Next weekend, November 10th, 11th, and 12th at Genesis Diamonds, Poplar and Perkins Extended. See store for details.
Visit Frontier Western Store today for new shirts and boots. Frontier is your top Carhartt store in the Mid-South. There's thousands of in-stock shirts and jeans. They have the classic K87 pocket tee in every color they make, including new ones just released. Available small to 4X. Want new jeans? Frontier has you covered with super tough work denim by Carhartt. And you've got to check out their selection of Ariat jeans for men, women, and children. You'll love how easy it is to find the size and style you need. Have you seen Frontier's remodeled world-famous boot showroom? It continues to expand. New styles by Ariat just arrived, plus plenty of in-stock proven classics too. Whether you need work or dress boots, trust that Frontier's the place to come. See thousands of pairs of Ariat boots and thousands more by Dan Post, Corral, Durango, Rocky, Twisted X, and others. And Frontier's pricing is lower than online and chain stores, so you know just the local shop to visit. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Locally owned and operated since 1967.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Looking for your next car? Give Car Corner a try. Car Corner, located at 2653 Mount Moriah. They specialize in cars under $15,000. Bad credit? No problem at Car Corner. CarCornerMemphis.com. That's CarCornerMemphis.com. They even have cash cars under $7,000. That's Car Corner at 2653 Mount Moriah. CarCornerMemphis.com. Look for the building with the teal green roof.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Sports 56 traffic.
Looking at a crash where a car is up on the guardrail here. It's an interesting looking crash on 240 eastbound at Perkins. It's got it backed up now all the way to Mill Branch. Again, it's just crawling down through here on this side of town on 240 east at Perkins on this accident possibly involving some injuries. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry, located 7525 Highway 64, is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn, Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we have less than 30 minutes left in today's show. And we just got finished talking some Tiger football and Tiger basketball with Greg Gaston, the Tiger basketball team. In action tonight, their second exhibition game tonight against Lemoyne-Owen before they start their season on Monday against Jackson State. And Brett, we've talked a lot about this non-conference schedule. Penny Hardaway even put it into words after their last scrimmage of this non-conference schedule, and when you look at the teams on there, Missouri, Michigan, Ole Miss, VCU, Texas A&M, Clemson, Virginia, Vanderbilt, that's not even to mention maybe a showdown against Arkansas, maybe the possibility of playing a Villanova or North Carolina if you make it far enough into the tournament they're playing in. The non-conference is everything this season, and Penny Hardaway said that.
He said it
after the game. Those were, his words.
Not our words.
No, not our words. His words. What do you make of this team when it comes to, Brett, only 2 returning guys? And I know that's kind of the state of college basketball right now, but they're going to have to mesh, come together really fast before that first kind of big game against Missouri on Friday.
They sure are. I don't feel as good as I did a year ago because I knew exactly, and we got exactly what I knew about Kendrick Davis.
Yeah.
I think Javon Quinterly will be fine, but I want to see him, make her stop with minute 12 to go up at Mizzou.
Yeah.
A week from tomorrow night.
That's right, which is incredible to think. A week from tomorrow night, we'll not be talking about the first game of the season, Brett. We'll be talking about the second game of the season, which feels good. But no, I mean, I've heard people, I think it might have been Dave Woloshin earlier this week, talking about this team. And when you look at last year's team, it was really Kendrick Davis or DeAndre, and that was really your two options. Yeah, there would be times where other guys would step up, but you knew what you were getting from those two guys. I think this year you have way more options. You have a lot more scoring options. You've got a lot more guys that can step up and take over, but then that same conversation
and Coach has said he thinks this team is ahead defensively.
Yeah, which is interesting to hear, and I think, you got some guys with length. You've got some big guys out there. So it's going to be interesting to see how this team comes together and, who kind of is able to take over. I heard maybe it was on John's show today. I forgot who I heard talking about it. But, who is going to be that guy this year? Is it, is it this guy, or will this guy be the leader of this team? And I think the happy medium for this team might be not to have kind of that star of this team, not to have a Kendrick Davis out there, but kind of be that by committee, because you just have so many guys you can rely on.
Especially with the old but very true mantra of one ball.
One ball. Brett, it seems simple, but
it does.
It gets a little complex in the locker room sometimes.
And I think Coach Hardaway, I know Coach Hardaway, he has the earned gravitas as a head coach, not just Penny Hardaway, but as head coach Penny Hardaway. I think he has gotten to where he can drive that home. Hey, tonight might be Sharon Font's night.
Yeah.
Tonight might be the FSU transfers night.
Yeah,
tonight could be somebody else's night. Yeah. I think he's on that. Last year, it was Kendrick, go do your thing.
Right. So, I think you're going to see more of that, and that might go into, I know it's going to be a conversation against Jackson, maybe not as much against Jackson State, but I'm sure you'll hear people talking about it after Missouri. You're going to hear people talking about it ahead of the tournament. Rotation. How many guys is Penny playing? Who's getting the minutes? Yada, yada, yada. And this really might be a team this year, especially those freshmen, because you've heard so much about Ashton. You've heard so much about Carl Sharonfont. You've heard so much about J.J. Taylor, who didn't get a ton of minutes. I don't know if that was disciplinary or what happened in that first exhibition where he didn't see
tonight.
A ton of time. That's right. We'll see tonight. But it might be a point where when you get down to 7, 8, 9 in that rotation, you might see it rotating between a couple freshmen, between a couple of those guys, and really Penny Hardaway able to kind of play with these lineups and say, all right, who has the hot hand tonight? Who do I think I can rely on based on what I see this other team doing defensively?
And tomorrow at 5, we start our regular Friday visits presented by Jim's Place Collierville. Jason Munns, the Commercial Appeal men's basketball beat writer for Tigers basketball. He will be with us starting tomorrow all the way through, we hope, all the way through in Phoenix. Yeah. I thought of this last night. Places in American sport that's hosted World Series, Super Bowl, NBA Finals, and a Final Four.
Yeah.
Phoenix had the Super Bowl last February, right?
Sure did.
They had the World Series
just yesterday.
This week.
Right.
They've got the Final Four next spring. The Suns could be in the Final Four next June.
They really could be. I mean, very few places you could say that about. And Arizona is, you could really make a case that before we finish 2024.
New York's done it,
sure.
and Los Angeles. I don't know that. I know Boston hadn't because it's never hosted a Super Bowl.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think Vegas is close to doing that.
No NBA Finals though.
I think we're going to get expansion here soon. I think shortly after that, I think I wouldn't be surprised if Vegas expands and immediately gets a somewhat decent team that can make a run.
Minneapolis did, and I want to say Minneapolis maybe had the stadium trifecta of all time. Fall of 91, Twinks in the World Series. January of 92, they hosted the Super Bowl, Washington and Buffalo.
Yeah.
Springtime, Duke won a Final Four up there, but no NBA Finals in Minneapolis.
Yeah. I mean, very few you could say that about. That really is.
Phoenix.
And look at Phoenix. Very well could do it by the end of 2024 if things play out right.
Houston's done it. They've had NBA Finals.
Yeah.
They've had World Series.
Yeah.
They've had Super Bowl. And they've had Final Four.
The Final Four. All right. Throw Houston in there. Interesting.
Dallas has done it.
Dallas has done it. Yep.
Dallas could even throw in Stanley Cup.
You could. Wow. How about that? So even more. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. But Phoenix,
I mean, like here we can't.
Right.
We we're not ever going to have a Super Bowl.
Right.
Kansas City can't.
Right.
Cincinnati won't.
Yeah, but I mean that's right. I mean, there's very few
that
cities that even fit the criteria, and then to be able to go out and do it is a whole nother layer.
And then there's Miami that's never had a Final Four.
Right.
I mean, it's had World Series. It's had Super Bowl.
That is interesting that Miami has never hosted a Final Four.
No, never have. Only Final Four in the state of Florida was at St. Pete at the place you got to cross the bridge.
Jeez,
Duke won it.
Pete, good Lord. Well, good for Duke, I guess.
Yeah. Way to go, Duke.
Way to go, Duke. But no,
you're a closet Dookie, though, aren't you?
No, I 100% am, and I'm not ashamed of it either.
You're not even closet. You are a Dookie.
I mean, I wouldn't call.
I took a shot at Shira last year. And I think it's one time that you really got mad at me.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know, Duke. Just growing up watching Duke, I kind of like watching Duke basketball.
I'm busting myself off. I said I've never wanted to see a punk lose in his first year more than Shira, and it made you mad at me in the hallway. You said, "Why would you say something like that?" And I thought, "Oh man, I hit the wrong spot with Bryant."
Yeah, I don't know. I've always just kind of had like a little a little love for Duke, and I don't like to share it because. I don't like to share it out because I'm not a huge fan of Duke. But if Duke's on and I'm not watching anybody else, more times than not, I'm going to flip on the Duke game. But yeah,
because it cuts both ways. You're going to find plenty of people with you, but then the antis, they come at you hard.
But I don't know if I would call myself more of a Duke fan or just I don't have a problem with Duke, and I just kind of like watching them. Great coaching, great basketball. So I mean. What's not to like?
I didn't for a long time. I did not share in it for a long time. Mine it's come on in the last few years.
Yeah, really.
There was forever. I love Krzyzewski, and love the story. West Point guard for Bobby. Can you imagine playing for Bobby Knight when he was 27?
I was about to say Bobby Knight that was only 4 years removed from college
with a crew cut.
Yeah, crazy.
I mean, be scared of anybody with a crew cut.
Yeah. Me and John were talking about that earlier today, and John said, well, he was pretty young when he started coaching at West Point. And
24.
I said, John.
In 1965.
Yeah, I said, John, he was 3 years removed from college. And he goes, no way. And I go, yeah. So I pulled it up just to make sure. I said, yeah, he was extremely young.
24 and 65, and he got Krzyzewski about 68, 69 or so, recruited him from Chicago. And, he's not that much older than him.
Well, that's why I'm saying there's been pictures that have gone around over the last 24 hours since we got the news of Bob Knight's passing. They're great pictures. But, I mean, the picture of him and Coach K together, and I said, look like teammates. I mean, you could, if I didn't know,
really
I would look at that and go, oh, there's just two teammates in a picture together, not coach and player.
Now, Krzyzewski, he tells the story. Now, I think they kissed and made up, didn't they? I've not seen an official statement from Mike and Mickey Krzyzewski about the passing of Coach Knight. Have you?
I haven't seen one. I want to say I saw a headline that said Coach K on the passing of Bob Knight, but I don't know.
And he's going. He's going to be high road. He will. Right. You just should, and he will. But they did have the out years where they had fallen out.
Really? It doesn't surprise me, but
I think they fell back in.
Well, that's good.
Most of us do, especially as we start getting older and realize, we got a lot more good, shared, common things than we do bad. But ego can cause things to happen.
Absolutely. But,
and the fight and winning and all that goes into that.
It's very complicated dynamic and complicated relationships.
And it is with Bobby Knight. It is.
Certainly.
I thought Jay Billett's statement and kind of defense of him was really nice.
Yeah,
very nice.
Really, really nice. What I've seen coming out from a lot of people in the basketball world has been really nice, but also very fair in terms of Bobby Knight's life and his career as a head coach. It sure did. Very complicated. A lot went with it, but I mean, you can't deny and unbelievable coach.
I'm not speaking ill of the deceased. I'm not.
No.
But I do know of stories from the 1984 Olympic tryouts in Bloomington on campus at IU at Assembly Hall that the treatment of Keith Lee was horrible by that staff and by people at that.
I hate that, especially when you bring up a guy like Keith Lee. I hate to hear that, but no, it's excited. I mean, that's obviously sad news, but it's exciting. Getting back to our original point about the Tigers, it's exciting to kind of get this season started, and Monday will be here, that final exhibition, kind of see where everything stands before they get to that first game against Jackson State on Monday. But we got to get to a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up today's show with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Welcome to the Rendezvous.
This is John Vergas. When my dad started the Rendezvous in 1948, I don't think anyone could have imagined we'd still be serving shoulder, cheese plates, and our world-famous dry rub ribs 75 years later. But we are still here in the basement, in an alley in downtown Memphis. We sincerely thank you for making the Rendezvous what it is today. Charlie Vergas Rendezvous. A legendary experience for over 75 years, whether you dine in, pick up, or ship across the country.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry, and they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Bartlett Small Engine has free pickup and delivery both at your home and curbside for lawnmowers, blowers, edgers, and any small engine. Call 901-386-9779.
Hi, folks. Bob Burkheimer, the Chevy Sheriff for Sunrise Chevy. The Sunrise Chevy Ranch has over 500 new vehicles available with interest low of 0% and rebates up to $4,000. A $10 million used car inventory specializing in late model GM certified and cars and trucks under $10,000. Bad credit, bankrupt, slow pay, it's okay. Sunrise gets you financed when no one else can. Check out the inventory and apply online at sunrisememphis.com or call us on the phone. Come in and see us, go online or call. Any way you do it, we'll save you money at the Sunrise Chevy Ranch, partner. 385 South Houston Levy in Collierville.
Roofs, roofs, and more roofs. Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair simply because they don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance claims for policyholders each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. Call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates, consultation, and claim repairs. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, diagnosing problems, and estimating is second to none, commercial and residential. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. All you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and Mulehide with labor warranties up to 50 years on all of our jobs. Metro Builders provides roof repairs across the Mid-South. Call Metro Builders to schedule your inspection free. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One. Coming up on Thursday Night Football, Derrick Henry and the Titans travel to Pittsburgh to face the 4-3 Steelers. Tennessee at 3-4 is coming off a win, while Mike Tomlin's squad needs a bounce-back win to stay above 500. Kevin Kugler and Ross Tucker call the action on air and on the free live stream sponsored by AutoZone on Thursday Night Football.
Right here on Sports 56.
It's game day at Jim's house, and the spread is impressive.
Mike's already done some damage with the hot wings, and now he's dropping back and going deep for another slice of pizza.
I sure hope he brought the Pepto.
Mike knows the Pepto-Bismol provides fast 5-symptom relief from unexpected stomach upsets. He's no rookie.
The way he's throwing back those nachos, he's the GOAT.
Be ready for game day with Pepto-Bismol.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
So how you like me now? How you like me
It is crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye. Hello, high school. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today, less than 24 hours after the Texas Rangers hoisted the World Series trophy, we have odds for the 2024 World Series champions.
Go Cardinals!
The Braves, well, the Cardinals nowhere near the top. The Braves lead the way at plus 600. Dodgers right behind them at plus 700. Rangers, who just got done winning it, are third at plus 800. Astros also at plus 800. And then the Philadelphia Phillies rounding out the top 5 at plus 1,000.
I would love to know what the Rangers were a year ago right now.
Oh, that's a great question. Nowhere near the top.
What I learned today is that rarefied air, that club Corey Seager's in.
Oh, yeah.
He's 3 of the 4 are still alive, only Bob Gibson deceased. Sandy Koufax, Bob Gibson, Mr. October, and Corey Seager. And he earned it.
He sure did. He sure did. And rare air now. Who thought Corey Seager would be among those groups?
He's got to get a ball autographed with those other 2 names on it.
That would be unbelievable. It really would. What I could have done without, and it's really kind of goes back to something we talked about earlier in the show with Bill Bender, but it's this entire Michigan situation because I love the way Bill talked about it and the way he said it. He basically said, I'm tired of just talking about this. Either Big Ten, NCAA do something about it,
and let's play ball.
Let's move on.
Let's play ball.
It's tiring that every single day when we had great games last Saturday, we have great games this Saturday, and
we got a great college football schedule tonight.
Oh my gosh, Brett, I looked at that earlier. I couldn't believe the games we're having tonight, but everyone wants to continue to talk about this Michigan story. Let's play ball. It's the middle of the season. We don't need to be talking about this every single second of every day.
I could have done without some of the score settling and rancor out there concerning Bobby Knight. It hadn't been a lot of, but if there was one person on earth that wouldn't mind people deviating from, just everybody knows.
Yes.
Just say you're sorry to his family and friends and be nice about it. Don't speak ill of the deceased. But there was one person that wouldn't give a rip if you laid into him today. It was him. He did not care. And that was his style.
That was his style for sure. Where are you beaming tonight?
Troy, Alabama, a matchup of 2 buddies of mine that I think will have great careers ahead. They're really, really tight friends, too. Kane Womack for South Alabama against John Summerall against Troy. Both of those names, if there's an Arkansas list, they both should be on it. Kane Womack with his dad's connection and John Summerall with his SEC connections.
Brett, that is a great game. I'm proud of you for picking a G5 game to go to on a Thursday night. You sounded like me. I love it. I'm going to beam to this Thursday night football game between the Titans and the Steelers. I don't think it's the best game of the weekend.
I'm going to listen to a lot of it. I'm going to listen to a lot of it here, and I'm going to dip in and listen to Mike Keith some.
Absolutely, and so it should be a good game. I'm really interested to see what can Will Levis do in his second game as a starter for the Titans. What do the Steelers do? Steelers looking for a win. I think both teams could really use a win and are really looking to get things right, but we'll see what the Titans can do after that win last week.
TCU at Texas Tech, 4-4 Deacs, Wake Forest against 5-3 Dukies, 4 NBA games. Fun night ahead.
Yeah, it should be a really fun night with those NBA games, 2 on NBA TV, Raptors 76ers at 6, 9 p.m. We get the rematch from a couple days ago between the Spurs and the Suns. So you're right, should be a really, really fun night. Let me also remind you that you can listen to that Thursday night football game between the Titans and the Steelers right here on Sports 56. Our coverage of that will start at 7 o'clock right after Reb Talk. But that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night. We'll talk to you again tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock.
Hi, this is Jonah Gamble, left guard for University of Memphis football. Let us help you use your home's value for all those projects or vacations you've been putting off. Now you can borrow up to 100% loan to value. No closing costs for loans $50,000 or less.